Welcome to the Apex Online Racing Touring Car Championship. It's round number 2 of the championship here at the Bugatti circuit here at Le Mans, of course. Last week we were at Brands Hatch for the little Indy circuit out there, and a lot of fun we had too. Williams Mitch did a great job of wrapping up a couple of race victories and a decent performance in the reverse grid race, and he was chased along by a furious pack of other drivers. Speaking of furious packs of drivers, I guess. My name's Alie Tacq. I'm joined here by Melesh. Melesh, how do you like to be introduced as a furious pack of drivers? Are you a plurality of people or just one?
I'd like to think that I'm one of many faces, but there's only, I'm only one forehead, and I think that's all that matters when describing me. I'm looking forward to this, man. This is the polar opposite of Brands Hatch Indy. I mean, lots of places to break away on the straights. We're going to see maybe the Honda Civic and the Chevy Cruze come into, maybe some speed and pace of its own. Because we really get to see that last time. Brands Hatch Indy was, maybe fourth gear tops. I think we're going to see all the range of the gearbox here today, Alie.
Yeah. No, you're quite right. It's a little bit faster, this track, a little bit, few more corners, a bit more for the drivers to remember all round. And I think that's important. A larger circuit like this, it just takes more learning, right?
Yes, but it gives you also, where Brands Identity is very close quarters, it also as a mental challenge, you've got to be on it all the time, split second super decisions, and it's going to be the same throughout any racing you do, any form of racing. But because it's such long straights, it actually gives you time to position and think about what you're going to do going into a corner in certain situations. So I'm expecting to see a little bit better, a more cleaner race. Maybe a little less action, which we never want to sell, and we never want to advertise that.
Never say that. Never say that.
But I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be. A little bit more. There's going to be a little bit more politeness here today. More mannerisms shown on track.
I like it. I like it a lot. Well, we're getting ready for qualifying. Any second now, we'll be kicking off. It's a 5-lap session. Of course, there's one warm-up lap involved there for all the drivers as well. So that means there's 4 laps in anger to get their fastest lap time down. It's a short-ish track. It's obviously not as long as the Cirque de la Sarthe. Where are the pressure points in qualifying, would you say, Melesh? Where are the corners that things could go wrong?
Well, I've been hearing the frustrations here today and a couple of days. Mitch has been on point, but he's been frustrated I think yesterday he was super frustrated with himself. Roadrunner can't seem to just get those extra few tenths to kind of match pace with his Williams teammates. So, and for me, personally, as a driver, Bugatti, front-wheel drive, I have to say it's going to be the last corner, the double right-hander going into the start-finish, because you could nail a perfect lap. But if you don't get the rotation off the curbs, and you have to use the curbs, and they're not easy curbs to use either. Like, you've got to get that cornering just perfect. And even when the sun's just on the horizon, just as you're coming into the corner exit, if you torque steer out of there, you're into the sand, and it's game over. So this is like, you can't really let off. You don't want to let off, but you can't power through. There's a certain technique to it, and I'm sure these guys have been practicing for that. But that, to me, is going to be the most complicated part and probably the most interesting in terms of racing, Alie.
You're so right. I mean, when you're racing at this level, the cars pivoting and turning, nailing every aspect of the corner is absolutely crucial. If you lock up your brakes, you're going to go wide. If you don't rotate the car sufficiently in the mid-corner, you're going to go wide. If you accelerate too early and pick up a bit of wheel spin on the way out, again, you're going to go wide. There's a whole lot of ways that things can go wrong when you're absolutely at the ragged limit. I mean, a driver like me, I'm out there, I can get stuff wrong because I've got some fat on the bone, if you like. I've got some ability to make up for it because I'm not going at full speed through the corners. Drivers like these guys don't have that luxury. We mentioned a little bit about the championship standings, so we're going to probably have a little bit more of a deep dive into these later on. But Melesh, right now, Williams Mitch leading the way. He's had a good run. He hasn't won.
He did.
An AOR. He had a good run last week. He hasn't yet won a touring car championship, though. Somehow, Mitch denied so far. It's looking like this might be his year so far.
You never know. We didn't see the likes of Commando come along. Tactical's teammate in this championship. He wasn't able to make the race last week. He is here this week. And we've got some other people like Venom as well popping in as well. They're going to be looking to make their ground and secure their place into Lobby A. So I think Mitch has got a little bit more work cut out for himself than he did last week. I'm not saying it was easy, because it certainly wasn't. You know, 2 wins, a pole, the fastest lap, and a 4th place in the reverse grid is probably the ideal start. I mean, of course, there is a drop round, and this certainly won't be his drop round, but he is looking very strong. 40 points ahead of 2nd place, Aerox Ridge. That's really interesting, because I think Ridge was, we were talking about grey men. Ridge was kind of the grey man in terms of the Aerox trio that we saw on track last week. We had Aerox Vane and Aerox Brokit really making their mark. But Aerox Reed just seemed to be there. Wasn't getting in any trouble. Just seemed to just filter through with his teammates. And he's sitting in 2nd place. No wins, no pole, and a really good solid position in that reverse race too. So he's looking great, but the stats are not there with him.
I'll tell you what, though, Ridge was looking stronger than Bokit last time out, which is surprising. Aerox's team, you know, really led by Bokit these days in many ways. A driver who, for so long, like we mentioned before, didn't seem like somebody who would ever join a team. Joins Aerox. He's really been carrying the flag for them. But last time out of Brands Hatch, he looked a little bit off colour.
He did look a little bit off colour, and I have to say the battle between the 2 teams right now is still very much alive. We've got Williams Mitch off starting it. Well, he's got his 1st place in the championship so far. Then it's Ridge, then Vane in 3rd place, then 7 in 5th, who had a really rocky start. Couldn't find his feet until the reverse grid. And then in 6th place, we've got Aerox Bokit. So we've got 6 places, and there's only one that isn't this Aerox Williams battle that we see going on. That's Tacq, who's going to be helped by his teammate this week, and I'm looking forward to see what he can do as well.
You're right. It's going to be interesting to see what Tacq can do. He showed some moments of brilliance last time out, but those weren't always matched with brilliant results. A couple of scuffles, couple of moments, and it all fell apart for Tacq by the end of the week. He's chosen himself a difficult challenge, though, I think, with the Chevy Cruise.
Absolutely. I mean, Tactical's always one for giving himself a handicap. If he could ride a 3-legged horse, he would, just for the memes of it. And I feel that's what he kind of does with everything. He just likes to give himself a challenge, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I have to say, you know, as a driver, you don't get remembered for the great things you do. You only get remembered for the things that, you know, were a bit wild, a bit, you know, a bit radical. And I would say radical is a nice way to put it, a neutral way to put it. But last week, he did have moments of brilliance, and he had a great final race. I think he finished 3rd in the reverse grid in race 3 of the 1st round. But he had a bit of a struggle getting there in the first 2 races. And I really hope that he's kind of given that space he needs to evolve in this round, because he'll be bagging those points. It's all very close to the top. 595 is the top point scoring of Williams Mitch, and it takes it all the way down to 10th place, which is 440 by JSR Tacq. So 155 points separating the top 10 drivers in the Driver Championship.
All right, well, all the drivers filtering around for their warm-up laps here, beginning of qualifying. We're on board right now with the Mr. Warwick. For you who've been around the community for a while, Warwick, of course, previously with GTR, now going privateer with that lovely purple and blue livery, very bright colours. Didn't make it into Lobby A last time. He's the kind of driver who's often on that cut-off between B and A, and also a very generous guy. Tends to give out his tunes for each championship, so if you're looking for some decent tunes to TCC, he might be worth a search on the old Get Tunes hub. And now, though, he's going to be the final driver coming around the last corner, or the penultimate driver, and to start his first hot lap. Alish Warwick here, well, he might have his work cut out for him. The Audi might not be as well suited to Le Mans Bugatti as it perhaps was to Brands Hatch Indy.
Well, you say that, but in talking to the guys that have been running the cars around this track, lap after lap after lap, and one of the things they say about the Audi is they wish it had one less tyre width at the front, because what it has is it has that acceleration and it has that top speed, and because it has that tyre width, it also has the grip, so it makes it a really formidable opponent in this championship, and people are just wishing that there's just, you know, a few inches taken off the tread is what they're asking for. But you know, so I think the Warriors making the right decision. The Audi and the Honda were certainly the cars to beat at Brands Hatch, and I have to say I think that's going to be the case. We can cast our minds back, Ali. You know, the Chevy Cruise was the car to go for, I think, back in Forza 6 because of its acceleration off the line, and it's just an acceleration in general. It's an accelerating car, but it just doesn't have the grip of the other two. So, you know,
No.
if it's a stop-start track, great. But this Bugatti circuit incorporates all. It does have stop-start sections, but that flowing chicane going into the last sector, none of that is stop-start. That is all flowing, and I think that's where the Chevy Cruze is definitely going to struggle.
Yeah, you're too right. Too right. Okay, well, Mr. Warwick coming around the back of the section. He set the fastest warm-up lap out there, but as the cars cycle across the grid, we're going to see him tumbling down the order. Barry takes a provisional pole, quickly overtaken by FCT Ben Y. And FCT going to hold that position for a short while at least as we continue along. Warwick comes back round here. FCT doing well in this lobby and beating Mitch in that first lap. I mean, it felt like a foregone conclusion to a point with Mitch in this lobby, but not managing to set his nicest lap time that first time out, perhaps dirtying it. Let's get on board with 10th place runner. Feels strange to say it, Williams Mitch.
Yeah, well, I think it's purely because he really did get a dirty lap. It seems that he's one of the he's the leading lap time in the dirty laps. Still not a great accolade. You want to be up there with the cleanest fast lap. FCT Benny coming into his own. We saw, I think, FCT Sam, was it, making a lobby A when he was in that qualification last week. What a great job from FCT, and this is one of his teammates from the French team, FCT. He's looking good. He's got a 43.5, but I have a feeling, Ali, that's not going to be enough. I've listened to the lap times, what they should be getting. We're looking for 41.7s. That's what we're looking for. I think maybe 42 flats are going to be the cutoff for Lobby A. So the way things stand, I don't think we're going to see anybody from this qualification making it into Lobby A.
High to mid 41s. That's a fast lap time around Le Mans Bugatti, especially in one of these touring cars, little front-wheel drive, turbocharged things that they are. Williams Mitch heads for the line and sees what he can put down. His second time of asking, again denied, remaining in 10th position, and once again a dirty lap time. Things getting a little bit desperate here for the Williams driver. Fool me once, Le Mans Bugatti, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And that looked close on the Dunlop chicane there as well. Mitch perhaps pushing things here. He needs to get a safe lap in.
Yeah, at the moment, you know, banking is the only option really. He's not done that so far. Like you say, he's running all the way to the edges of the track, and I don't think this is going to do him any favors right now. He hasn't banked a clean lap. He's only got 2 laps to do it in, and the last part of this track is the most deadliest. If he dirties it there, it's going to follow through onto his next lap. That means with a dirty lap, he certainly won't be going into lobby, and I think that'll it'll definitely damage his title hopes, and then he'll be relying on the shoulder of his teammates Roadrunner and Seven to do the business and get into that lobby A. I know they're going to be super uncomfortable if that's the case. Williams Mitch needs to spearhead Williams into lobby A right now.
Well, we're not only looking at somebody spearheading his team, we're also looking at the Drivers' Championship leader after round number 1. Struggling here at round number 2 at Le Mans Bugatti. A little bit of a conservative run there out of the back chicane. Not pushing the car all the way to the track limits. I wonder if he's just bringing this lap in at this point. Cruising it across the line. We're certainly going to stay on board with him. Barry's taken the lead of the session. American driver living out in the Middle East. So somebody taking this session by the horns if Mitch is leaving it out there. That is the timer updating though. That is Mitch crossing the line. It's a 42. Is that a 42.7 that I see there? Nice time. 42.1. Holy moly. Mitch on fire.
That's great. That's what he needs to do. He's got 1 lap remaining, Ali. Now he can push those boundaries because he knows the 41s on the cars. He's been practicing all week for that 41. He's been hitting those 41s, and that's sure to be under his belt. He's just got 1 lap to do it in, but thank God he put that banking lap in. Great job from Barry, though. 43.3. That's a second and a bit off, I have to say, but looking strong. He did great. He took the reverse grid by storm in round 1. He held the lead for like every lap, apart from the last 3 corners where he kind of binned it under pressure. I'm hoping and praying for Barry because that was such a great performance by him. I'm sure he can get a win here in this championship and get a 1 in his stats for race wins. So I'm feeling super confident for Barry. But I don't know whether that time's going to justify him getting into Lobby A, Ali. That's a big thing. What's the cutoff going to be?
Well, it's going to have to rely on that time. That was Barry, all 4 wheels outside the track limits in the first hairpin mid-sector of this track. He's binned his final fast lap, and so Barry will have to lean on his lap time. He's set lap number 4, in pole position for a very short amount of time before being superseded by Williams' Mitch. Barry then losing out. Let's go a little bit further down this field. Get on board with AOR Minx, a driver who it's good to see out here racing. Not somebody we've seen in Lobby A, or actually I think we've come across yet in touring car racing. But fantastic to see him out repping that red and black livery and having a great time at Le Mans Bugatti.
AOR organisers, AOR team races. I love it. I love the fact that AOR are taking part in this. I think it's a different kettle of fish for most people that are involved in AOR when it comes to racing, so it's nice to see them out there on the track. Have to say, Warwick doing a great job. 4th place to Warwick. GTR Spearman's holding in 5th right now. Actim in 6th. Not strangers. We've seen Actim before. We're seeing new people come in though at the moment. Nafel, a privateer, great job. Lucky Sod, former ACR, he's looking in 8th. Crypto Fishbulb, 45. We're seeing a big gap here, Ali. 3 seconds maybe from 1st to 10th. So you know, great job. Keep participating, but you've got to keep improving those lap times. Get those tunes solidified, get the practice in the week, nail those qualifying times. I know it's a tall order as well, Ali. I know it's a tall order. You only get 4 laps. But like we said at Brands Hatch, times seem to be very, the cutoff time seems to be very small. It seems to be smaller on smaller tracks. Bugatti is a very big track compared to Brands Hatch Indy. So I'm assuming that the cutoff bubble is going to be a little bit bigger than 4/10. Because that's what it was in the first round. I don't think that's going to be the case here. I think people have got a little bit more leniency, but there's still going to be a battle on that bubble. It's going to be interesting to see who takes it.
Well, Minx crosses the line. That's the end of the qualifying session for us. We're going to switch back over and take a little look at that championship schedule. It's round number 2 here that we're at, Le Mans Bugatti, the circuit. Next time out will be at Mugello. That'll be in 1 week. Today, so do join in, do get involved. There's still plenty of time to get involved with the championship as well. If you head on over to apexonlineracing.com, you can get yourself signed up, get yourself behind the wheel of a touring car and out having some fun on these punchy little circuits. Got an international calendar really, and there's still plenty of time to take in some of the best tracks in the world. So do certainly do that. Qualifying, Melish, is always very important. As you say, the cutoff here might be longer, but honestly, I think we saw 1 or 2 drivers from our qualifying session last time actually in a lobby. There's so many people taking part, so many people competing in this championship that you've got to be right at the tippy top if you want to be on the broadcast.
Absolutely, and you know, that's just the realism of it. I mean, people, you know, that can't see all the cogs working in the background. There's a lot of people sign up to this championship. There was 99 drivers last week. We were just one off. We hope we've made that 100. We've hit that 100 driver marker. That'd be super cool. But yeah, we're only on board in the top 16. And if we break that down, it's maybe right that we're only seeing true drivers. You know, I'm expecting to see Venom in there, 7 in there, the Air Ops boys in there. I would love to see Barry in there, but I just don't think that 43 is going to be able to cut it for him. Great if it did, but if it does, that means that is a super. There's a big time difference between first, and obviously he's going to be somewhere down the back of the pack. But you know, in terms of points for him, it'll be a great catch of points if he can make it into Lobby A. But
for sure.
I just don't think it's going to happen. Hate to say it.
Well, I mean, keep in mind the last place finisher in Lobby A scores more points than the winner of Lobby B. It's just how this has to work. There has to be a hard cutoff like that. So qualifying is hugely important. I think it'll be very, very important to Barry's championship, whether or not he does make it into Lobby A consistently. It just guarantees you a place within the top 16 drivers scoring that week, provided you don't get any DNFs, provided nothing funny happens, nothing fishy, then you're absolutely fine to get a whole heap of points for your championship total. So very, very important indeed to do that. It's it's tough when you see people not succeeding though at the same time. I guess we can take some relief in the thought that, you know, if you're not fast enough to be in Lobby A, then you're going to get some good racing in Lobby B or good racing in Lobby C.
Yeah, and there's that big question, you know, like just to reiterate the point, you do get less points for winning Lobby B than coming last in Lobby A. But I think there's a question in drivers' minds, you know, some people, you know, hold victory higher than practice or getting better. You know, they would rather take the win and stand on that podium in Lobby B. that go into the back of Lobby A, and that's because they want to see wins, they want to see stats next to their name, and they're not so much concerned about the point structure because they feel that, you know, winning the championship overall is well without reach, so that, you know, they kind of confine themselves to their own little achievements within a bigger championship. And I would say I would discourage that. In fact, I would just say go all out, go for it, because if you're not practicing against the best, if you're not going out there and you're not starting in last in that Lobby A, you ain't practicing. Because if you're the fastest Lobby B, that means that everyone below you in Lobby B is actually focusing on practicing off you. But you're not practicing off anybody. You're just the benchmark, you know, and it's great. I mean, you know, I don't think I've ever been called a benchmark, but, you know, I don't get insulted by it. I don't think I would get insulted by it. I'd rather be practicing off other people. I'd rather be last in a higher group, because that's where the
I get you. I get you. It's very true. It's very true. Well, a few people who they're not scared of shining, not scared of going for the big prizes. Of course, the painters who get involved with the AOR TCC and the Forza community in general. We've got a great community of painters out there. We've got a few sort of speed paints we can flash to sort of on the B-roll here. It's awesome to see how these paints are put together, Melish. It's such a complex thing to throw them together, but also the results are so incredible.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking layers upon layers upon layers, more layers than I can fathom, Ali. And obviously, being a part of TUS, like, you know, they're sharing paint all the time, and they're showing how they're doing it. They're showing screenshots of how many layers they're using, and they set benchmarks for themselves. Like how many layers does it take to build this? And then they're always asking for extra layers with the Turn 10 development team. There's never enough. There's never enough, and they get, you know, I've heard people building paints. PGT Coops has built paints and ran out of layers, so he scrapped the whole thing in frustration. So, like, there's passion in it. And I would love to see in the future of Forza esports, or just Forza community in general, where these guys are getting reward for their hard effort, because it is artistry, it is creativeness, and I can do it, and it's not my cup of tea, but I sure respect people that can, and the ability and the time they put into it, because it is not a 10-minute job. It really isn't. The dedication is there, Ali.
Yeah, you're right. It's a very dedicated thing. I've tried a few paints in my time. I'm not a creative man by any means, but at the same time, I've messed around with it a couple of times and made some paints that I wanted to work. And it can be almost sort of meditative after a while, isn't it? It's a very different experience to driving in the car. You kind of sit there and, you know, change a decal by a few degrees and fiddle around with a vinyl here and a vinyl there and get very sort of zoned into it. It's a fun and nice thing to do, but yeah, nothing on the level of people such as AMR the Hulk or Aerox Phoenix or indeed AMS Mercs, who we've also got a clip from here. No, really, really cool, and yeah, big thank you to all those painters who sent in these sort of speed paint ideas. If you guys are looking at this and thinking, oh, I'd love to get my team's paint featured on the sort of channel while we're waiting for the qualifying results, then reach out, give a shout to myself or Melish over on Twitter, and yeah, do send through your paints, and I can even tell you how to make one of these as well.
Absolutely. Just tuning in for culinary positions like we did last week. There was an awfully long time to wait, and we do appreciate your patience. Hopefully we're going to see that shortened dramatically this week. But right now, we are waiting for those qualification times to be jotted down on a spreadsheet, and we're going to be on board with the top 16. That will be in Lobby A. So coming next for us will be race 1. And Ali, it's a dusky day here at Bugatti, but I feel the sun is about to shine. Maybe a bit of rain, I don't know. We don't know what the weather class is going to be like. There's always been questions about that, because in the past when we've done Bugatti, it's been a soggy track. Don't know if we're going to get that here today, but it doesn't really matter, because for me, touring cars is touring cars, despite the weather, come rain or sunshine.
Well, yeah, touring cars is touring cars, especially because of the weather. I mean, it's a very similar championship we got here to I would think BTCC, perhaps some of the TCR championships as well out there. You know, front-wheel drive, turbocharged cars, they're not scared of a bit of wet. These aren't DTM cars. They're not cars from that go anywhere hot. I say DTM. Rains all the time in Germany, doesn't it? But you get my drift. These aren't cars that are scared of a puddle or two. So nice to see him out racing in the wet if we do get that at Le Mans Bugatti. But then again, you know, lightning doesn't tend to strike twice, and we definitely have had a wet Bugatti in previous seasons. So perhaps this year we'll get a nice dry circuit for all the drivers out there. It's a difficult circuit to navigate around, and I think the best way for us to show you guys how to get through Bugatti is to hop over to a nice little lap that Manish got a very special guy to guide us around.
Round 2, we are heading to Bugatti circuit, a different kettle of fish to those with the taste of Brands Hatch Indy. After missing the first round, Commando was eager to prove that the Chevy can keep up with the already dominant Audi and Honda touring cars. We're going to go on board with him now for a lap here at the Bugatti circuit.
Thanks guys, so let's go for a lap around the Bugatti circuit. Now coming into turn 1 you want to stay as far left as we can and try and shadow this corner off, catching the curb on the inside, getting the car straight as possible for braking into the Dunlop chicane. Now you want to get over these curbs here, and now this is going to be a very important part of people's qualifying. The people that's going to push it around there and the people that do not, the brave ones are going to be rewarded. Now coming into turn 4, quite a tricky corner as it's off camber on entry and slightly comes back to you on exit. In third gear there, using the power of the car. Now late shift up at the fourth, braking at the grass end there. Now down into second, getting as close as the curb here. Get on the power as soon as possible. And from second up at the third. Now you want to try and miss some of the curbs on Bugatti as it's quite a bumpy circuit anyway, as you see now. As I brake into turn 6, the front of the car bobs up and down, which unsettles the car. But we managed to hit the apex nevertheless, but we missed the curb there on the outside. Now going over there in second gear, or maybe any car, it seems to make the car rev bang, and we want to keep the momentum down the straight, so avoid is better than hitting it. The same now for braking into the turn 7, 8 chicane, very bumpy, and getting that right in qualifying again is going to be very important, as it's going to make a lot of difference in your lap time. Now turn 9, catching the curb on the inside, in second gear, staying second, trying to shorten off turn 10 here, getting 2 wheels over the curb. Now up into third, braking at the start of the curb here, down into second gear, going over the curb there, same, powering out now on exit, using all the track. And there you go guys, there's a lap of the Bugatti circuit.
It's an astonishing circuit, the Bugatti circuit at the Cirque de la Sarthe. Very technical, very difficult to make it round cleanly, as we saw from Williams Mitch, who was pushing so hard that he dirtied his first 2 fast laps around here. For my money, that puts Mitch at a bit of a disadvantage after qualifying. I think a few other drivers in other sessions may well have been able to set those mystical 41 lap times, and yeah, I mean, who knows, put in one that will pip Williams Mitch this time out. I mean, Melish, last time it looked like Mitch was unstoppable in almost all of the races. This time round, it feels like maybe some different people are going to be able to challenge him.
Yes, I definitely think that Commando's going to be up there. Commando and Mitch have always gone backwards and forwards. They've sometimes been teammates, sometimes they've been enemies. Well, not enemies. I say enemies. Enemies just sounds much more grand. But, you know, they've been opponents on the track, and I feel that they're going to be very much the same here. We don't know what Commando's lap time has been. We weren't with him in qualification, obviously, so it's going to be interesting to see where he came out. And I also think as well, Venom. We said this before, we haven't seen Venom in a Forza Community Championship from well, with us, since the Porsche Cup, way back in the early days. It's going to be really interesting to see what he can do in front-wheel drive. I mean, I've only seen him in the front-wheel drive when we did the Honda Civic at Brands Hatch Full in the wet at the FRC. I think that's the only time I've seen him that I can remember that's recent. So it's going to be interesting what his pace can put down. It seems to me that, you know, the Americans, when it comes to British touring cars, not saying they're slow because they're not. I just, you know, I feel they're well out of their comfort zone. They aren't easy anyway, and Europeans certainly struggle with this, but I feel that Europeans definitely get on with British touring cars a lot better than people across the pond do. I don't know, maybe that's a generalization. I could be completely wrong. And if he wins it, I'll eat something that I shouldn't be eating. But until that point, I do stand by what I say, and I think that he may be struggling. Maybe.
Well, I mean, we saw Venom entering the championship after the Forza Racing Championship and saying, you know, hey, I didn't realise that I was any good in these kinds of cars. I didn't realise I could deal with a front-wheel drive car at all. But actually, it hasn't been that bad. It hasn't been as tough as I thought it was. So now, yeah, I'm going to come see what I'm worth in the AOR TCC. So there's definitely some talent out there in America with front-wheel drive cars. I do feel you though. It may be a little bit of a European pursuit in some ways, mastery of this kind of vehicle.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's plenty of people from the US who can do me in one of these cars. So I don't know what I'm talking about either.
Absolutely. Well, we're talking about Americans here. Let's go back to last week, because for me there was an interesting point in one of the races. I think it was the first race where we saw Vane and who was it now? Was it Vane at 7?
William
it was
7.
Vane at 7 came together, and it was an interesting talking point. It seemed that Vane was a little bit too aggressive. He did apologise on social media after the race and said that he forgot how to steer. I mean, it is one of the principles of racing, so if you forget that, you're pretty much, you know, I don't know where you are, but you're not where you're meant to be. But yeah, so he was apologetic afterwards, but it was an interesting accident, Ali, right?
Yeah, that's right. Let's check a little bit more detail on that.
I mean, well,
certainly is racing, and no battle defines that more than the spat between Williams 7 and Aerox Vane during race 1 at Brands Hatch. We're jumping on board in lap 9 when a small mistake saw Vane dipping 2 outside tyres onto the grass. Despite his efforts to stay on the apex, Williams 7 clattered his way through to take second position. Credit to Vane, who was quick to dust himself off and try for the comeback at McLaren just 2 corners later. 7 with a wide line, allowing the nose up the inside, a mistake that the French driver would mirror in the coming 2 laps. This time though, Vane squeezed up to the inside, allowing a late apex and a little rub on the nose for 7 to keep him at bay. Second time through McLaren, and that wide entry from 7 begs the move from Vane. This time the American changes his strategy though, asserting himself far more with a prominent line, middle of the road, wide from the apex and denying 7 the opportunity to pinch him. Nonetheless, it's the punch of the Honda out of the bend that allowed 7 to hold position. The third time of asking in 3 consecutive laps, and this time 7 runs a little hot through Surtees, wide on the exit, and that sees him run 2 wheels over the grass. During the braking, he's a little bit squirrely, and the error seems bigger than previous laps, and it's enough to give Vane his best run yet. One that he wasn't willing to back down from. It was a tiny tap, barely noticeable in the replay, a couple of sparks flying from the side fairings, but with the Honda already stressed by acceleration, it's enough to see 7 in the gravel and Vane heading off down the road. This could be the start of a season-long rivalry.
And well, welcome back to the Bugatti circuit. We're still talking controversy at Brands Hatch. Vane and 7 there coming together. We've had a little look at it, and I mean, where do you sit, Mellish, on that bump? You're saying Vane maybe put his hands in the air afterwards, said, "Hey, I forgot to steer." It was a very subtle bump, just a graze on the side fairing. Do you think maybe it's just a sort of hey, I think I can get away with this, so I'm going to kind of open up my steering a little bit. You put yourself in a vulnerable position, you know. I'm going to do this, and just kind of, because you're there, I can get away with it? Or do you think it was just accidental?
I absolutely believe that if that wasn't on stream, which it was, but if it wasn't on stream, then I don't think there would have been an apology. I honestly believe that, and that's not to question Vane's integrity. It's simply, you get away with as much as you can in racing. You don't own up to something unless someone's caught you out, right? You keep it under wraps. It doesn't mean you're a sneaky person, It just means you're gaining points and not gaining penalties.
Yeah.
Which is the whole point of this. In terms of physical contact there between those two, I do feel that 7 was impeded. I do believe that. I kind of believe where you see the contact to the front bumper of Vane hit the side panel of the Civic of 7. It was kind of more, it was just behind the front wheel arch, just behind it. And I kind of feel with the steering and the power going into those tires, I feel that that shifted his course of direction and trying to keep in the speed there. Maybe if 7 had let off slightly, that wouldn't have happened of him driving into the sand. But it was so close. He had very little room to go. He maybe had a meter's worth of space on the inside, on the outside, I should say. So I would think with that change of course and direction, I feel that he was impeded. And if there's nothing happened about that, it's up to the race marshals to kind of, digress what really went on. If they haven't seen it was penalty worthy, then that's fair enough. But 7 definitely felt like he was impeded as a driver. But it's your right to be a driver, Ali, isn't it? If you're gonna, if you feel like you've been hit or someone's made contact and it's put you in a disadvantage, you're gonna erupt. You are gonna erupt.
Hey, look, I mean, 7 every single time there would feel as though that should have gone a different way. It should have been better. Should have been different for him. There's no way that you come out of an incident like that and you think, well, gee, that was some great racing. You're always going to be like, throwing your controller on the floor and swearing at your TV. I just don't think it's penalty worthy. Like you say, it's gaining positions without gaining penalties. That's every driver's prerogative out there on track to find a way to do that. It was a tiny touch. I think that looking back at that. Well, looking back at that, making that little segment, the thing that really occurred to me was like, hey, 7 may not have been a mistake, but he didn't change it. 7 ran a wide line into McLaren, allowing Vane up the inside 3 laps in a row. Every lap that he was ahead of Vane in that race, because Vane overtook him before turn 1, so he took the lead immediately from him. Every lap that he was ahead of Vane tried to move on that corner on him. So adjust your line, close off that inside, put him around the outside there, do whatever you can. He left the gap open, and I think for me, there's something to be learned there for 7 as well. Yeah, a long time coming's a hard way of putting it. But yeah, that's tough. That's tough because it wasn't his fault, but he was in a vulnerable position. He was placed in a way on the track which was like, actually, maybe it's better to get out of the throttle now. Maybe it's better to not put this much faith in both Aerox, Vane, and Forza's net code to keep yourself on the asphalt here.
And I think it's also important to note as well, Ali, is the fact that the performance stats between the two cars on the track were very similar. And the only thing that I can think of that the Honda had over the Audi was that little bit of top extra, maybe a little bit extra torque at the top end, or just top speed in general, right? Because how many times did we see the Honda Civics just edge themselves into that track position going into turn 1 over the Audis? So if you think about it, if you're Vane and you know that he's got the run, he's got the better line, he's on the outside, he's on the camber, he's gonna just slip past you, and you've got to work a whole nother lap just to get in the same position, and you've already done this for 3 laps. Then what's to stop you thinking, well, if I just make some body contact, Forza physics, I can scrub off some speed. And then I can match him going into turn 1. It's very clever, and it would have been a masterpiece if 7 just didn't go in the sand. Like, but I would totally agree with that. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that was so close. Just tap. I do it. Hey, I'll do it. There's no shame. I did it today, and I'll do it every other day. I'll scrub off speed by the body rubbing paddles.
And if you turn the corner, if you're like, oh yeah, but he's tapping to get an advantage. If you switch that around, 7 had a big old moment with Vane to get past him in the first place. Vane sliding on the side on the way through turn 3, and 7 barging his way through there. Again, 7 pinched Vane on a late apex of McLaren twice on both previous laps, clipping his car in the same way that Vane clipped him. So 6 of one and half a dozen of the other here. I don't see a penalty. I do see some rough racing. I do see some stuff that I think both drivers can be you know, they deserve to get passionate about. But I don't see anything that Marshall's. Yeah, I see, and that's exactly that is it. That's it, Mellish, because it's this is a vendetta, and I think this is brewing this championship.
It's like, I hate you. You remember me? Because I don't even remember me, but I remember you. Remember you, the guy that pushed me off. Yeah, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're all cool. Don't worry. Have a good race. Have a good race. Wham! Straight up and down loves the game.
Oh no! Oh, I bumped into you. I'm so sorry.
Well, the camera's not on you. Oh, what a shame. Well, I guess, you know, better next time.
Yeah. Next time out, what I suggest is you just don't put yourself in a vulnerable position like that. So you just, maybe you should learn a little bit from how the attacking goes next time round. Yeah, no, you're so right, and this is the start of something. I think definitely something between Seven and Vane. I'm interested as well to see whether or not it's something brewing between Williams Esports and Aerox Motorsport. That'd be an interesting one to see.
Yeah, it will be. But at the moment, Ali, this is round 2. I definitely feel that this is personal on a real focused individual basis. Hey, I would love it to transpire into a team rivalry. But right now, I kind of feel it's Vane versus Seven. And I've got to say, I think Vane has had his moment in the glory that he got away with that. I definitely think Seven is coming back. The thing about Seven is actually, like he can be very, you know, as any other driver, he's very passionate about racing, and it shows through his frustration in some of the disadvantage and the situations that he's put into. But he's actually a very clean driver. Seven is a very clean driver, and I think that he's got a lot to learn in terms of what you can get away with and what you can't. If you're a kind of person that opens a door for somebody, you don't belong in racing. That's not, you can't bring that attitude to racing, because it doesn't work. The nice guys always finish last, most of the time. Sort of, maybe. I don't know, but that's what I kind of feel about it. I kind of feel like nice guys do finish last because they do, I'll give you room on the inside. No, don't give him room on the inside. Trail brake. Slam, you know, completely clean his nose off his car. This is touring cars. It ain't F1.
Stop the car on the apex.
Panels. Yeah.
Stop it, you know, take the bump every time. I agree, man. I think, you know, hard defense is justifiable up to the point when you're getting penalties. You know, there's no limit to this that's drawn by the game. There's no limit that's drawn by race etiquette. You have to just have marshals who step in, and we're very lucky to have marshals at Apex Online Racing ready to step in. You just have to rely on them to draw the lines here. When is it too much? Well, it's too much when you're getting a penalty for it. Up until that moment, if you're not getting a yellow card, you're not tackling hard enough. Go back harder next time.
Yeah, I was just watching. Sorry, I don't usually do this on the live stream, Ali, but I was just watching what AOR Minx was saying. One of the guys we saw in our qualification lobby was the fact that as soon as his qualification finished, Ali, he said that he could definitely improve in his time. And literally maybe 5 minutes later, he said he took traction control off. As a golden rule, if you're not used to this and you're very new to just Forza in general, and you're especially new to touring cars, you cannot run traction control. Absolutely not. It's a massive no-no. You'll never find yourself in any form of, you know, respectable competition in touring cars if you're on traction control. And the same has to be said for simulation steering. You're going to be losing a whole bunch of time using simulation steering, and the fact that you've got to figure out which cars are better with manual and manual with clutch, because it varies in touring cars. It does vary in touring cars. So those are the big 3 things there, Minx, that you really need to focus on. If you're new to a championship or you just want to drive touring cars in general, simulation steering, manual with clutch, and no traction. Those are the big 3 biggies. The 3 biggies you need to run touring cars. Wouldn't you agree? Wouldn't you agree, Alex?
I completely agree. I agree wholeheartedly. You have to turn traction off. I think the thing about turning traction off at the start is like it can be a bit daunting, especially if you come. So I started on Forza and GT racing, and in GT cars, I think it's a little bit more daunting to turn the traction control off. Partly because you can be very fast with traction control turned on with GT cars. With a touring car, it's completely different though. The front wheel drive, and that means that if you flare up the tires, if you start to lose traction, it's not going to whip the car around. The wheel spin will drag the car along, so you're not going to get that same moment of oversteer from wheel spin. You're just going to get understeer from wheel spin. Another thing about it, and this is I think why traction control fails, is that with touring cars quite often you'll get sort of one tire fire. where the differential will
Yeah.
spin up one of your front tires and not the other one. So you'll be gripping with half of it. And powering out of the corner, it's not significantly slower to get a little bit of one tire fire from time to time. And that's what you should be feeling for with the throttle when you're exiting the corner. I mean, maybe that you'll know the fine points of this better than me, Mellish, but that was my kind of starting point. It was just kind of push for one tire fire and then like roll it back a little bit.
Yeah, you've got. I think there's different ways to kind of improve your performance, and for a lot of people, they drive scared if they don't know what they're doing. I have to hold my hands up to this. I feel that I will slow down, and then kind of work my way up. Where a lot of people actually, in fact, go the reverse. They'll go flat out, and yeah, they'll maybe crash, but they won't do that again. It's kind of like sticking your hand on like a hot pan. You only do it once, and you don't do it again. You don't need to do it again because you remember what happened the first time. So kind of, I think that may be the way to go about it, is to start big and work slow. But I'm definitely one of those guys, Alie, that works slow. But sometimes if you work slow, you never know what your full capacity may be. So maybe it will be better to start big and work down. And also another thing about touring cars, which I love, it's a great foundation for learning throttle control. Yes, front-wheel drive cars in Forza have a different mechanics to them than rear-wheel drive cars perhaps. And obviously they feel different in the terms of the way they drive and the physics. But touring cars are perfect for learning throttle control. Being able to squeeze, especially on a controller, squeezing that trigger, finding those biting points. You can't do it with a clutch, obviously, because the clutch is a button, and so there's no decompression rate of a clutch on a pad, but you can definitely do it with your braking and your throttling. And for the most part, with these cars, you're turning under throttle. So you're throttle steering.
Hey, it's true. It all combines. I think you're right. It's a really good way to learn. I'm the opposite to you. I go too quick and then I have to reduce it. You do say, like, you're talking about learning there. It's a little bit like sticking your hand on a hob and going, ow, that's hot. I won't do that again. The trouble is that I do it on every corner, so it's a bit like, I guess, having 4 or 20 hobs all on, hitting one and going like, ow, I won't do that again. And then like touching the next hob and like being like, maybe it's different with this one. Maybe this one's nice. And then burning your hand again, but oh no, it was just like the last one. But the third one might be better. The third hob might work all right for me. Oh no, I'm really bad. A good thing I haven't got sim damage on.
Absolutely. I have to say though, just news in. We can't show this on the stream, but news in. But so far, no one has beaten Mitch's time for that 42 flat. We've seen no one in the 41 so far. It's super close, and I'm not denying that. But it's all those, just creeping into the 42s, 42 flats, the 42 threes. That's where we're seeing the bulk of Lobby A. And I'd be really surprised at it, but super excited to see if, 3 or 4 tenths is the cutoff for Lobby A. But if you look at the lobbies, and I have to say this, Alie, I have to say this before I forget, because I will forget. I'm a very forgetful person. We had 99 drivers last week. We now have 112. Yep. So we got that one plus another 12. So it's great. It's great news. 13 drivers actually joined the championship between race one, event one and event two. And remember, guys, you do have a drop round, so you're still in chance. You're still in chance of making some good rack of points and getting them on that championship table and actually giving yourself a good season. But you will have to attend the rest of the races. But it's touring cars, and why not? Why not?
Well, I think as well, the fun thing about touring cars is like you see sort of wild card entries throughout the championship. I remember a few years ago we got brain damage to show up for one race here and there. Sometimes we get that with Craviator as well, who'll come and go, dip his toe in and out of the water if you like. So it's not like, you don't always have to have a championship campaign to come out racing. Yeah, you can still get a pretty decent championship on if you come out and give it a go. But you don't have to do that by any means. You can chill and just come out for 1 or 2 races of the year. You can do whatever you like. Of course you can. And there's lots of fun ways to get racing. This is the best place to be racing, though. For me, for my money, this is where you want to be. Touring cars, side by side, good bit of shoulder banging. This is good fun.
Yeah, it lacks finesse, but you gain entertainment. What else do you want from racing? And that for me is, I'd rather sit there with a bag of popcorn and my salted caramel, Kit Kat bites and just sit there and I wish I could, but I'm not. I'm commentating it, and I wouldn't. I'd rather be nowhere else, Ali. Love you. But if I wasn't doing that, I'd sit there and happily watch it. I'd happily watch touring cars, and there's touring cars on this weekend, so it's kind of fitting as well. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to this round.
I appreciate it. Well, I'm hearing that one of the lobbies for qualifying, sadly, has had to be rerun. I'm trying to find my way to that lobby, so maybe we can tune in and watch it. GTR Martin is the name that I have for the lobby. I don't know if that's... I'm struggling actually to get that gamer tag to be recognised. Maybe we can find our way there. If not, maybe we could pause the stream and just take a moment. But one way or the other, it's going to be, I think, another 15 minutes or so before we get out racing.
Absolutely. Let's see if we can get on board with him. Who's in his lobby? AMS Mercs' lobby. TOS Spectre's lobby.
There we go. AMS Mercs. That's an easy one to spell. So we're going to head on over to Mercs. Get on board with him if we can. Well, they do a fantastic job. The drivers out on... Oh no, Mercs is in here. Ah, interesting, and Spectre as well. So we're in a lobby with Mercs already. Dearie me. Oh, look, just bear with us for one tick if you're watching the stream. We're just trying to get something on the screen for you guys, so it won't be long. Here we go now. I've got a lobby for you to join, Mesh. I'll send you an invite. Here we are. Thank you for bearing with us for a tick or two there. See if we can get our way to fun racing. We've actually got Type R in this lobby, so we may see some fast drivers in here. We've got Roadrunner, Type R, Ridge, so some very quick people indeed. May well see a
Cammy.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah, may well see a Mitch Beaser in here. You never know.
And Roadrunner as well. I know that Roadrunner struggles in front-wheel drive. When he say he struggles, he's off by a couple of tenths, and he really doesn't find his feet well enough in front-wheel drive. So, you know, he's way out of his comfort zone doing this. But I think he's absolutely 100% lobby A material. So I'm expecting him to get a good 42 in this session.
I'd love to hear it. Well, I hope so. Roadrunner there, you know, a decent 42 would get him pole. In fact, do keep in mind that the pole time right now is sitting at a 42.1. Certainly we've seen 41.7. So there's about 0.5 of a second fat on the bone there for us to expect drivers to get underneath of that time. For now, though, that 42.1 does remain as the pole time. We'll be jumping on board any second with this next qualifying lobby, so do just bear with us. Here we are on board with Williams 7 and beginning the qualifying session. Second qualifying session that we've been involved with today. It's it's had a little bit of a moment, this lobby, and the drivers having to recollect themselves and get ready to set their times all over again, running a little bit of a delay. Some very, very fast people, though, involved in this lobby, and drivers who really were expecting to do well. Of course, Seven, the driver we looked at just earlier on in that incident with Vane last week, looking to get himself up the field as far as possible. Other notable entries in here, of course, GTR Cami. We've got Barcode from TUS, then Aerox Ridge, Williams Roadrunner, JSR Type R. So a lot of talent in this lobby. A lot of people who will be expecting big things. Williams 7, though, I think for now is who will stay on board with as he runs down towards the back sector of the track, down the back straight, and towards that chicane Melish was talking about a little earlier on. It's a tricky one. You have to get your tyres hooked up, get the car rotating in the right way as you roll over the curves, roll over the bumpy tarmac and get your way through there. Seven making it look pretty easy on his warm-up lap, but I don't think racing in anger just yet. These cars, they take a moment or two to get used to, get your head back in the game with them, and you know, a nice warm-up lap is a splendid way of doing that. Seven then flooring it, heading down the start-finish and beginning his first flying lap. Run down towards Dunlop curve and the Dunlop chicane just afterwards. Setting himself up for a smooth line here. You can use all the road, run right the way out to the outside over the paint. Really attack the curbs here through the Dunlop chicane. Looks aggressive from Seven. Not a banker lap to start off with, but definitely one that he's pushing all the way through. Brings to mind Williams Mitch, who we saw earlier on today, just losing out a little bit after pushing a little bit too hard in his first two laps. Didn't manage to set a 41 in the end, I think partly because he was under so much pressure from himself, trying to keep that, just trying to get the car into a clean lap. 2 dirty laps was enough to weigh very heavily, I think, on Mitch's mind. Seven hopefully won't have any such bad luck. Looks tidy enough for Seven as he runs now towards the back sector of the track. We'll get the live timings up on screen, and so we can see exactly what's going on.
Yeah, Seven taking a very conservative line there through the fast chicane, the fast S section, coming towards the last sector now. Got to really abuse those curves, get the tires on those curves so the car will rotate even more. But I'm pretty sure this lap's a dirty lap, Ali. I hate to say it, but I think he just dirtied it on the entry to Dunlop. I think he went 4 tires. I may be wrong completely, but that looked a very, very strong lap either way. Kind of wait to see what the benchmark will be for Seven. It looks on fine form at the moment.
You're absolutely right, Mesh. You're absolutely right. Seven dirtying his first lap. He's yeah, it will have been dirty. His clean lap was his first one, a 1:47, his warm-up lap. We're not seeing a lap time for that second one, sitting there in 6th place still on a 1:47, so definitely dirtied his first top lap. Well spotted, Melish, well spotted.
Yeah, it was just a slight mistake. I mean, you know, it's the slight mistakes that cost you the most. You've got to use the curb, so you're forced into a situation where, you know, it is a dice roll. You need to be able to maximize the entire circuit, and that does involve going 2 tires, sometimes even over the curbs and onto the grass, into little green patches as well. And that's what these guys are certainly doing as they navigate around Bugatti circuit. But that, of course, means on the other end, you could end up with a dirty lap, and like we saw with Mitch, he had to wait till lap 4 to put a banking lap in. I think that it was his fastest lap as well as banking lap, but I'm pretty sure we're going to see a little bit more pace from him during the race.
Well, someone who won't need to put a banking lap in because he's already done one is JSR Type R, a 1:42.4 in his first lap out there, his first hot lap. We're on board with him right now as he tries to improve that lap time. He won't have to do much, have to find 3/10 in it in order to get the pole position here, or at least the provisional pole. So not impossible for Type R. I want to say though, Mesh, just looking at his driving style again, looking at the tune that he has on this Honda Civic, it looks like again he's just struggling a little bit with getting the car rotated on the way into the corner, getting the thing turned in. This looks a little bit understeery, and that's, I think, a dirty lap there. You can hear him bailing on the lap and lifting off, dirtying it through that back chicane. Big shame for Type R, excuse me, as he attempts to get the pole position here.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 more laps remain, and I have to say, I think we should go on board with the Aerox Ridge, dude, because I've just seen him at snail pace around the entire last sector, and I kind of feel like he's got to, he's got to put himself in that physical state of mind. Well, he's got to focus right now. I feel that's what he was doing there. He's just let everybody pass. He wants that clean air. He doesn't want ghosts around him. Some people thrive driving, side by side or through other people's ghosts. It gives them that competitive edge. They feel like they're racing with other people. But Ridge, not one of those people. He likes the clean air. He likes to be unpressured. And I feel that he is going to put in a stormer of a lap. He's only got 2 laps remaining. Yeah,
he needs a stormer, Mellish. 4th place in this lobby, a 1:42.8, where he's currently sitting. And that's not going to be enough. I mean, it may be enough for a lobby, he may scrape his way in. But it's not a competitive run by any means. You need to be in the low 42s. Really, at least the mid 42s, I think, to be safeguarded and to know that you're in with a good chance here. Ridge at the back of the track and powering down. This Audi, the RS3, not looking as strong here at Bugatti for my money.
Ooh, I don't know. I would love to agree. I would always love to agree with you, Ali. But let's just see what the times have to say. Oh, that's a bit twitchy there for the high-speed S section again. This is where he started to slow down. He's got one more chance. I think that may have just impeded his lap time. But as it stands, Williams 7 is a 10th and a half of his teammate Mitch, who we already seen qualify, puts him in good stead. I don't think he put him second on the grid in Lobby A, but he put him really close to his teammate, and that's always good to have backup at the top where you need it in Lobby A. Type I in second place with a 0.448 with Cami, who was towards the back of Lobby A in round 1, seems to put in a 42.6. I think that's going to be the cutoff, Ali. I think 0.6, 0.5, 0.7, that's it, no more. People with 0.8s, I just don't think are going to cut it.
I agree. Well, somebody who's not sitting on a 0.8 anymore is Aerox Ridge, the driver who we were just on board with, a 1:42.389, the time that he just set. So good enough to pit JSR Type R. Not good enough to beat Williams 7, but that'll see him up towards the front of the pack. Nice time there from Ridge, and under a fair bit of pressure as well. I'm hoping to see Type R, though I love to see Type R racing at the front. I'm hoping to see him set a slightly faster time by the end of this qualifying session as Ridge throws it away and says, enough's enough. That's my lap time, and that's what's going to take me through to qualifying. So Ridge throws the lap away, but let's hop back one to Type R. Still in 3rd in this session and still in with a chance in his final lap.
Absolutely, and I think also it's important to note as well, Ali, is the fact that I just don't think we're going to be seeing any BMWs getting into Lobby A. I mean, Craviator was the only BMW in Lobby A. We haven't seen him race. We don't know whether he signed in tonight. I hope he has, but he was all out of luck in round 1. He was always towards the back. He was involved in a few incidents that were not his fault, and I think he ended up having a picnic on the grass verge, watching the cars go past in race number 3. So I don't know if Craviator will make his appearance known, but if he does, I think it's safe to say that he will be the only BMW making it into Lobby A, if any at all.
It takes a lot to get that BMW racing at the very top of the league as Type R comes now towards the line, and that's going to be enough. Type R pipping Ridge there on the last lap, a 1:42.319, so it's not going to pip Mitch's time by any means, but finds the 2/10 that he needed there to beat Aerox Ridge. Type R well in this race.
That is a great comeback, late comeback, last blast move in this qualification round. Lap 5 out of 5, and that'll see Type R progress through and just pit the Aerox team. That's going to be great, not only for him, but for the Williams brothers looking to solidify themselves as well, as Mitch and 7 both taking #1 places in their qualification rounds. And where will that put them on the grid? We'll have to wait and see, Ali, because we have got other lobbies that are literally waiting on this one. Right. They know the times they're put in, and we're just waiting to update the live times with this qualification lobby, and then we're ready to go. Ready to go for race 1.
Absolutely right. This is going to be an interesting one. The race is heating up. There's plenty of fast drivers out there at the top. Of course, we're here at round number 2 of the Apex Online Racing Touring Car Championship. It's been a hotly contested one on Forza Motorsport 7. All the pro drivers coming out, and some real interesting inter-team battles cooking up in these races. Williams Esports and Aerox Motorsport especially coming to grief, being at odds with each other, however you want to put it. Those two have been on track side by side plenty of times. We've only had one round of this so far. Le Mans Bugatti shaping up to have a few more contenders in it though. JSR Type R, love seeing that. Bringing the JSR Mandem all the way to the front of this grid.
Ali, it's that time of the day. It's that time of the day. We don't know who Lobby A is. Who's going to be your grey man?
Ooh. The grey man.
Lovely.
Every week we're choosing not the driver who's going to win. Feels too obvious. Not the driver who's going to come last, because that's too obvious once you realize how obvious it is to pick the driver who's going to win. But instead, the driver who we won't notice but was in the lead or was in the top lobby, racing really well, doing nothing wrong, but we just won't notice them all the way through. That for me, this time round, Mellish, ooh. I'm going to call it as, I mean, last time, who did I call it? GTR Cami? Was that who I suggested last time? I think this time it's going to be Matt 6661. That's who it's going to be. He's going to be in a lobby, and I'm just not going to see a lot of him.
Well, we didn't see a lot of him
Mellish?
last time. We didn't see a lot of him last time either, and I think that's, as consistency goes, as the grey man continues, the grey man saga, I think you've chosen wisely. For me...
What's your bet on? Let's go, yeah.
Oh... I'm going to go for Rich again. Because, yeah, he was at the top, and he's second in the championship, but we didn't actually see how he got second in the championship. And that for me is like the butter and the bread and butter, I should say, of the grey man is, they're right in the thick of things, but you just don't know how they got there. So for me, it's definitely going to be Ridge. Likes to keep to himself. Bit of a grey man on track, doesn't do anything stupid. I'm interested to see how this plays out.
I agree. Ridge is a classy racer. He's a classy racer, and we've said it a few times. Touring car racing, it's not that classy. It's not a finesse racing. It's a little bit door banging. It's a little bit of aggression, a little bit of sticking the nose in where it doesn't belong. It's not. This is fast food right here, and there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with some fast food from time to time. But it is
absolutely not.
It is it's not a classy racer's place. Ridge, wonderful driver, wonderful racer. I wonder if he lacks the aggression right now for TCC, much as we've said, however long we've said it, for JSR Rossi or LZR Rossi as he's now known. A driver who's fantastic out there, but sometimes lacks that killer instinct.
He does sometimes. He absolutely does sometimes. I really want to get focused on that race one. I really do. Waiting for the live timers to be updated through the back end. And then we'll be getting straight on board with race number 1. If you just joined the stream, that's where we are. We just jumped on board with the last qualification lobby. So 16 lap times to input, and we're getting underway because for the majority of Lobby A, it's already been secured. This one was quite a hot lobby, though. A lot hotter than ours, it has to be said. In terms of times, Ridge, Type R, 7, Roadrunner. That's 4 people you expect to see, and that's 2 more than what we had in our original lobby. So I'm expecting to see those 4 people to make it into Lobby A. And if they do, which 4 are going to be bounced out? There's only enough space. There's only 16 spaces, and they've already been filled. So I bet everyone was looking on forward to this qualification lobby to see whether they be making it into Lobby A at the back end, or they'll be racing for that podium finish in Lobby B. And that is the question.
Well, it's a difficult one, isn't it? And often you see people feeling as though, I did a bad job in quali, and now I'll have some lonely races at the front of Lobby B. It doesn't often work out that way, but that's how it can feel when you're on your way back there. It's it's always good racing. It's always fun racing. But yeah, I think some of those, and I'm the same. If you want to see yourself on the broadcast, you want to see yourself out there and repping your nice paint. So it's tough to not make Lobby A if you have the pace for it. But there's only 16 spaces. I doubt very much we'll see the same 16 drivers every single week in that top lobby, just because there's some cars which are suited more to some tracks, some drivers that are suited more to some tracks. Here at Bugatti, it's a slightly different challenge than it was at Brands Hatch last time out. And
we're not talking difficulty either, Ali. We're not saying it's easier or harder. It's just different in nature. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Not easier, not harder, different altogether. This track, and one which is a lot about managing your way through bumpy asphalt, making sure that you're running lines which are very, very accurate. Whereas at Brands Hatch, the asphalt, there's some rises, there's some undulation. But there's not that kind of feeling of, oh wow, the track is of a completely different nature if you're on the inside or on the outside of it. Here at Bugatti, though, it is so bumpy, it is so difficult to navigate, and that's, I think, because it's there's one line really, especially on the exits, some of those hairpins.
And because it's 1.4 miles, bigger in track length than Brands Hatch Indy was, we're only going to be running 8 laps, not 18. 8. This is certainly going to be a sprint race. I mean, 18 laps, I know it's a short circuit, but the guys, could gain a bit of distance. The action was always there, but people could gain that distance over the length of 18 laps, regardless of the track. 8 laps, there's going to be no distance. Absolutely none at all. It's going to be such pack racing. We tend to see a pattern formulate. We always seem to have the leading pack, and then we have like the pentalon? When all the other cars are just in a line in the back. That's where they are. And wherever you go, there's always going to be action. 8 laps, not very long. 3 races tonight, guys. If you just tuned in and this is your first time, first race is based off the qualifying results we just saw, and then race 2 is based off race 1 finishing position. Race 3 is going to be the reverse grid that everyone looks out for, and that is going to be based off reverse qualifying times. Not reverse grid from race 2, reverse qualifying times, which we kind of got wrong last time, but it was me. I own up to that. I'm sorry.
You're good. Well, I will say, I mentioned this earlier, but maybe I'll frame it slightly differently this time. All the team painters who made lovely videos for the stream, thank you very much. I know that a lot of the drivers who take part in this do watch the stream, so if you're watching it and thinking, hey, I'd love to get my team's paint on there, please do. If you're watching it and thinking, I wouldn't love to get my team's paint on there, I don't mind. Still send it over. The more paints we get on here, the more interesting we can make our loops and the videos that we run during these down moments. It's a nice thing to see these little speed paints. They're enjoyable to watch, I think, and so nice to have a bit of variation on the stream. So do give a shout, and we'll get yours on there as well. For now, though, spare a thought for the hard-working people behind the scenes at AOR. They're ploughing through swaths of paper right now. It's like those old what do they call those machines that see if volcanoes are about to erupt. What are they called? Something graphs or meters. Anyway, the reams of paper rolling off of those things are tumbling onto the floor at AOR HQ, and all of the bespectacled AOR admins are leafing through it and circling moments on the jagged line to show when interesting things are happening. It's a hive of activity back there right now. Take my word for it. And so they're all very busy making this race happen for us. Mellish, when the race starts, when we kick this thing off, we're running down into turn 1. If you're on the inside, where do you want to be? That's really my question here. Where do you want to be placed on the road? Do you want to be on the inside on the fast turn 1, or do you want to be on the inside at turn 2 into the chicane?
Oh, I think it would be more successful if you could take the inside, end up on the outside, and then return back to the inside, setting yourself up for the corner just past Dunlop chicane. I think that for me would work. Or
Right.
you go around the outside, and if you can plan and execute a cutback really well and still end up on the inside, either way, I think ending up on the inside coming out of Dunlop chicane would give you the advantage. But obviously, if you're ending up on the inside, then you've not utilized the whole track limits. That means you haven't gained as much speed as you could, and that might see that the person on the outside gain more speed and actually cut in front of you going into turn 3. So, does that answer your question, Ali?
It doesn't. I think you know it doesn't.
Oh, you're asking me
to a
personally?
point.
Inside. It's definitely inside.
Inside.
I think there's
all
some,
right.
and it's nothing to do with where I end up. It's how I got there. There's nothing more satisfying than being able to flat out take the nice right-hander towards the chicane and
Right.
nailing it, going over the curb and just braking in a straight line, trail brake towards the curb into turn 2. And I think that's for me rewarding in itself. I absolutely love that. So it doesn't really. I don't really matter. I don't really care where I end up, as long as I hit that. If I get that right,
Yeah.
I can get the second part right, because the entrance is really, really important. It's like 80% entrance, 20% exit, because you get so much more room on the exit than you do on the entrance.
Well, ladies and gents, we're running our way towards race number 1. The pause won't be very much longer. I think another 5 or 10 minutes, but we're going to take a short pause here on the stream and be back with you very shortly indeed. We'll come back with you with race number 1. It's coming at you very soon, so do stick around. Welcome back to the Apex Online Racing Touring Car Championship. Alie Tacq and Martin-Pilkington bringing you all the action here from the Le Mans Bugatti circuit. And round number 2 of the championship. The car's just warming up here and getting their tyres nice and sticky. We're on board with Williams' Mitch. He's on pole position. He managed to hold that out despite not getting the perfect lap. What does he need to do into the first couple corners to keep that lead as he runs through Dunlop?
Well, it's going to be super tough, and I don't think he's going to be able to do anything to keep that lead. Yeah, I think it's just a super aggressive approach to the Dunlop chicane. He wants to end up on, well, I say the inside, but he'll probably end up on the outside, get that big run, and get a nice big swooping turn into turn 3, or turn 4, I should say. So it's going to be close. I definitely think it's going to be close. If 7's in second place, though, I think 7's not even going to try and go too wide. Just going to filter in. The guy we're going to be watching is Jota Commando. Commando missed the first round. He's here for the second round, and I hope he's going to have to be here for all the remaining rounds to stay in contention. So he's going to be looking to grab as many points as possible. It's great to see the Chevy Cruze out in 3rd place. What a great start for the Chevy. We thought the Chevy was definitely the underdog coming into this championship. Can't really say that when you see it in 3rd place there. Type R in 4th, I think that's the best qualifying he's had so far out of the 2. And then in 5th place, we've got Bokit. Bokit's been in the top 5 twice now. Aerox Ridge just behind him. And look how close the Aerox boys are. 5th, 6th, and 8th with Cami just splitting them in 7th in that. Oh no, we're seeing Tactical come through. Where is Tactical going? Is Tactical moving up the grid here? Where did Tactical finish?
I think Tactical, I saw him getting a little bit squirrely actually at one of the hairpins out there in the warm-up lap. So I wonder if Tactical lost some positions there. It looks like he's bounced his way back into 4th, relegating Type R to 5th and then Ridge to 6th. What might be interesting though to sit on board with Tactical for this race start. 4th place runner, we're just getting on board with him right now. Tactical, a driver who is in the Chevy Cruze, a car which is notoriously fast accelerating off the line, looking at the road at 2 Hondas and his teammates Chevy. So I wonder whether or not we're going to see a very, very quick change for the lead here as we run down to the first chicane. Those Hondas are almost certain to be sluggish off the line, Melish. They're going to be in massive trouble with these 2 Chevys behind them.
Well, how many times we've said Hondas, the power is at the top end, the torque's at the top end. We know the Chevy Cruze has got a great line to start. I think this is, as you say, nailed it on the head. Perfect opportunity for Commando and Tactical to swallow up those Civics and get that lead. I have to say, though, it's great to see a 3rd battle entering this top kind of top tier of battles between Williams and Aerox. And I kind of feel like the 3rd team now is going to be Tactical and Commando looking on to score some big points as well. So they're going to be also a force to be reckoned with later on through the championship. I kind of feel like it's a three-team battle right now, even though Commando and Tactical need to score some big points.
All right, well, Williams Mitch is on pole. 2nd is 7, 3rd Commando, 4th Tactical, 5th Type R with Bokit in 6th position as the revs raise. We get ready for the race start. 7th is Ridge, Cami in 8th. 9th Aerox Vane with 10th place. AMS Mercs, we're off the line. Tactical has an absolutely incredible start. Takes 2 positions.
Look at
and is already in the race lead before the start of this race. Type R relegated back down the field, and those Williams drivers are nowhere to be seen. Melish, this is incredible.
Yeah, Commander makes the most of the situation as well. Both teammates there going side by side, literally blocking the way. Mitch trying to find a way around the outside. Tactical pushing him off the track. 7 just keeping the reins beneath. Ridge moves his way into 5th place there behind his teammate Bokit. Vane looking strong. All Aerox boys closely knitted together as Type R and Cami in the Honda Civics looking strong in 8th and 9th.
So Tactical and Williams Mitch now fighting for 2nd as the Honda comes back. That moment of acceleration at the start is the only moment where the Chevy Cruze has that much of an advantage. Now, when the cars are running, when the acceleration isn't always from a standstill, there's a chance for the Civics to fight back. And Mitch doing that very quickly. 7 wants to follow suit. He wants to get through in this first lap as well and runs out of the back of the second hairpin. He's in with a chance here, I think, if he can hold that nose in by the end of this back straight.
Yeah, now the decision's on Commando. Does he just go flat out and go for the win? Or does he slow this pack up, bunch it straight back up, because those Aerox boys are formidable boys. Mitch in 2nd place, but I feel that Commando should just hold back and help his teammate Tactical under all sorts of pressure. 7 looking up the inside. He's going to be way out of position there as he goes towards the final sector. into the last double right-hander. Tactical again, sending him wide, just close the door of Seven. Seven's having none of it. He wants to dive bomb there, clips the rear end of Tactical. Tactical has to cut, and here comes Ridge. Ridge comes through. The grey man there just scaves away, slips through. Slips through and just misses the sand trap on the outside. Great job from Ridge, Alie.
What's that old police poster? 99% of crimes are opportunistic. Ridge absolutely slipping his way around criminally around the outside of Seven there on the last hairpin. Beautiful move there from Aerox's driver, and up to fourth position, starting to get in there with the two drivers from Remus Motorsport, that's Commando and Tactical, and the two drivers from the Williams Esports stable, that of course is Mitch and Seven.
Yeah, absolutely. Seven once again just reeling, maybe from his own mistakes. He just in those vulnerable circumstances once again, and he finds himself in fifth place from second to fifth in the shape of a few laps. He's going to be furious with that. Bokit, he's in an Aerox sandwich at the moment. Ridge leading this sandwich, the top piece of bread. Bokit in sixth, and Tactical goes wide into the double right-hander, opening the door for Ridge. Not going to stick. Absolutely not. Tactical got the big run there.
Yeah, way better onto the back straight. So Tactical able to defend his third position for now, but it feels like the clock may be ticking on the Remus Racing boys. Tactical fighting like crazy for his third position, and up ahead, if we cut forward to Williams Mitch, he's closed that gap to Jota Commando, and now the lead is starting to get threatened. Williams Esports Mitch, that driver who's looked unassailable in touring cars, starting to put the hammer down on the new pretender, Jota Commando.
Dude, don't go back up. Tactical is the cork in a champagne bottle that is about to pop. Type R joins the pack in seventh place. Bokit sixth, Ridge in fifth, and Seven is going side by side with Ridge, and Tactical just keeps slowing down. Great defensive skills. He's slowing them down on the apex. He's parking it on the apex in the Chevy Cruze, allows those two to go up and battle up ahead, but he's slowing this right down. He's getting the boys involved. Type R looks towards the inside. Bokit just torque steers through in the Audi. And Type R's looking strong on the inside of turn 4. And he's going to try and split the Aerox boys. He's moving up. Vane's there as well. Cammy is there as well. Everyone up to 9th is in this pack, and Tactical is the top of this mountain.
I'm loving the look of Tactical's pace out there here at Le Mans Bugatti. A little bit of a changed driver since Brands Hatch last week. He had a muted comeback to the TCC with some middle-of-the-pack results. We knew he was better than that. We knew he'd be frustrated, and he's come back here to Le Mans Bugatti stronger than ever. JSR Type R looking very, very strong indeed. I said Tactical earlier, but I meant Type R. That's what I was talking about. The guy we're on board with right now, black and white livery, Honda Civic, and chasing down the 5th place runner that is Aerox Ridge. Beautiful driving.
Yeah, great driving from Aerox boys, going side by side. They've got to be careful though, because they're just being a hindrance to each other. Cammy looking up the inside of the Civic. Civic's looking dominant out here today. Chevy Cruze seems to be great working for Commando, but Tactical has his work cut out for him. Seven seems to have sneaked past now. Seven retains that 3rd place. Lap 5 of 9. Only half the lap remains, and it looks like Ridge is the next customer that Tactical's got to deal with. Can Tactical get back round 7? Seven's been a vulnerable person. He's been making mistakes, forced and unforced, and I feel that, I think we're on the verge of another unforced error here by Seven.
Speaking of unforced errors, though, we're going to jump forward to that lead. On board with Williams Mitch, who's now tapping Commando through the braking moments. He's looking strong. Late apex there at turn 3, and this run may well be on for Williams Mitch.
Great job from William Mitch. I mean, it was such a start. They had it in the bag. Williams 1 and 2 off the grid, and it was just that sheer outright launch of the Chevy Cruze that spearheaded the the Remus team, Commando and Tactical into the lead. Tactical, you could just see that distance there. What a great defensive performance from Tactical, but Commando holding his nerve, and these are really the top 2 titans of touring car championship driving in Forza Motorsport, and it's great to see them both in different cars, Alie. Great to see.
I love seeing it. I want to say back here with Tactical, Williams 7 has managed to slip his way by, so 7 back up into 3rd position. He'll be happy with that after a ropey old start to this race, and he Looked like he'd be back in the doldrums again after a difficult week one, a difficult round one to the championship. 7 though, into the podium, and looking like he's got strong pace there to maybe even catch the leaders a little bit. Tacq had a beautiful run from the race start. Let's actually see if we can get an instant replay of the race start now that we're at this sort of second stage of the race. Tactical launching like you wouldn't believe from that line, and yeah, it was a beautiful moment. That Chevy Cruze, Mellish, just has
big dive,
unbelievable off the line.
Oh, Civic! Mitch trying to get up the inside of Dunlop, trying to get around the outside, get the extra room and just blast past. It wasn't on the cards. Commando sensed the weakness there, knew what he was going to do, read it really, really well, and covers off once again. It seems to be that's going to be the move. If Mitch wants to make this stick, it's going to have to be under braking. He's got the Dunlop chicane and he's got turn 6. That's where he's going to do it. He's also got a double right-hander, the 2 double right-handers. If he wants to, if he's going to do under braking, he's got plenty of opportunities, but he's not going to do it on outright pace. Commandos just seems to have the edge in the Chevy Cruze.
For now, I think it's going to take a little bit of a mistake from Commando. And in touring cars, you can wait for an unforced error, but you can also slightly force an error. I think with a little bit of a nudge in, a little bit of a push up the inside. We're sitting here still watching Williams Mitch brewing that move. It's lap 6 of 9, so this race won't go on forever, and eventually he will time out. Williams Mitch will time out if Commando can hold him back there, can keep him behind. He's going to have to make something happen here if he wants to win this race.
2 tires over the curve, that's what going to be. Both are going for rotation. None of them is going for that attack mode just yet. Commando's slightly defensive, but he's been able to run the racing line. That's why he's not been able to slow down. He's slightly defensive into certain corners under braking, but the rest of it, he's running like he's running a quali lap. If Mitch wants to make this work, he's going to have to be super aggressive. Clean, but super aggressive.
I'm trying to watch for where he could really make a move happen. Here at Dunlop chicane, it's just there's a little bit of an advantage, I think, with the Chevy Cruze just out on that back straight. Such a long time to be opening the throttle that Williams Mitch, his little Honda, are losing out down that very long straight. It's later on in the lap when he really closes the gap up here in the sort of twistier sections, and maybe if he can find a way through here somewhere, this will be his best chance. Lap 7 of 9, and we're on board with Mitch as he runs down to the second hairpin. It's not an easy place to overtake by any means. The track is thin here, but it may be his sweetest chance. If Commando's pulling away every straight, he's got to do it somewhere twisty.
Absolutely. 2.5 laps to go. Commando leads the race. Mitch, our qualifier, number 1 qualifier, sits in second place. The battle for third is not over. 7 is holding that huge pentalon of touring cars in third place, with Tacq just behind him. Ridge 5th, Type R 6th, Burkett 7th, Vane 8th, Cammy 9th, and Williams Roadrunner taking that top last spot in the top 10. So he's in 10th, and then it's a big drop back off to SBR Chaz mode. And it's all very close. Nothing written in stone just yet, Ali.
Well, speaking of grey men, Williams Roadrunner, I didn't even realise he was in this lobby. I heard his name a couple of times tonight, but yeah, Roadrunner not yet showing his true cards, I don't think, in a touring car. Will be up the order, I'm sure, later on today. We've got 2 more races coming at you. Penultimate lap of the first race, but next up will be a race with the grid order set by the finishing order of race number 1. And race number 3 will be a grid order, which is a reversed qualifying order after the qualifying session. So whoever was fastest will be starting at the back of that pack, and that, of course, is Williams Mitch, fighting for the lead right now, though, and it's hard to fight. It's hard to know where he can make a move. I'm running out of ideas, and I'm not behind that wheel, which may well be a good thing, as it proves. But I don't have any ideas here for Williams Mitch. Well, I don't know about you, Mesh. Is there a moment of inspiration you can see around this track? It feels like you've got
to make these calculations, Ali. Making a move is all about calculations. Look at the distance behind second place. They're way ahead. They're both spearheading ahead in this race. If he makes a mistake, if he commits to a move and makes a mistake, he's got time to recover. So that second place is pretty much secure for him, depending on how severe if they go into an incident, how severe that incident is. But he's pretty much got a big buffer here to third place, so he's looking comfortable. I think he's well within his right to make an aggressive move. As to where that's going to be, it's definitely going to be under braking here. I do feel like it's going to be the line into the Dunlop chicane. I have to say that Commando's been on point, absolutely on point. That's a slight mistake from Mitch there. Just clipped the sand, and look how much he loses as we say that. I think it's going to be the Dunlop chicane, Alie. I definitely do, but the way Commando's going, formidable in his trail braking. Absolutely formidable. Goes towards the outside, and then as soon as Mitch is on the rear end and he can sense that dive bomb, he is just straight lining it to that curb. Just cutting off any opportunity, and he makes it stick every time.
Well, that touch on the gravel may have been all she wrote from Mitch. He needed to be close to Commando in the run down to the line. That's why he was on the throttle so early. Didn't quite get the car rotated enough, and the horsepower running through those front tires didn't allow the Civic to rotate. In the end, it was a touch on the gravel. And that's all that slowed the driver down, didn't quite get him across the line with the speed that he wanted. Lap 9 and 9 right now, there's still a few corners to go. This race is still alive, but I think it's going to take a mistake from Commando to bridge that 3 car lengths that he's made up with that tiny gap, that tiny mistake from Mitch. Further down this field, Williams 7 has held on to his lead over Tactical. He's in 3rd position, and the pack is very, very bunched indeed behind Tactical, who's driven a heartfelt race back there in 4th position. He's done a fantastic job just keeping that car up there, keeping himself ahead of all these drivers who, well, you could argue have been a little bit ahead of him on pace, but not ahead of him on track position. Great to see. Jota Commando, though, exits the final corner. He'll be chased by Mitch, but that won't give him any extra points. Commando takes the first win at the Apex Online Racing Round 2 at Bugatti. Behind him, of course, it's Williams, Mitch, followed by 7. And then 4th place, Aerox Ridge, Tactical in 5th. And then 6th was I think, Type R, followed by Ridge.
Yeah, I think Tactical just lost out there. How close were those guys? Tactical just holding on for the majority of the race. What a start, though, from the guys in the Chevys. A Cruise is storming away at the front, and it just seemed like a downward slope for Tactical. Commando, on the other hand, big bunch of points there. Takes that first spot. No questions asked. There was no dirty driving there. The Marshal's going to be super happy with that race. Means their work is, cut down to almost 0 for that race, and we're going to be getting on board with race 2 in just a moment.
Yeah, no time at all until race 2 starts, so don't fret. It'll be everything goes a lot faster now. It was an amazing race start, and that really defined the whole race for me, Mellish. Incredible to see Commando and Tactical jumping forward like that. Keep in mind those 2 drivers, so the 2 Williams drivers in the Civics on the front row of this grid closed in together in the center of the track, and it was Commando who went wide out left, Tactical went wide out right, and they met again on the far side with Commando sneaking up the inside at the Dunlop chicane to take that lead. Very, very impressive synchronized driving there from those 2 top drivers on Forza Motorsport.
Absolutely, and it seems like I'm going to have to eat my own words, because even though Tactical had the inside line, it just didn't work for these cars with the natural understeer that they have, and the torque skier is such a high pressure situation, as in the first chicane they had to go through. I think Mitch was on a perfect position. He went around he kept it tight on the entry to the Dunlop, and on the exit he just literally shot out, and he was able to apply that power through those front tires and get such a bigger arc. He was just able to arc the car around, where Tactical had to take such a more natural tight line, and that just does not suit any front-wheel drive whatsoever. So great job there from Mitch. But I have to say, how do you think the Williams boys feel? It looked, they were looking great, weren't they? 1st and 2nd off the grid, and then immediately into 3rd and 4th. One of the questions I have to ask, though, was where were the Aerox boys? They were there at Brands Hatch. They just didn't seem to have...
They weren't too bad. I mean, Vane isn't out racing today, so he's leaning on his teammates. He's leaning on his teammates Ridge and Bokit to hold up the fort. And keep in mind,
There
Vane
isn't?
was really leading the charge last time out of Brands Hatch. So it's a big miss
Vane's
to have.
here.
Is he here? Is he on track?
All three are here. Yeah, he was on track. Well, that he gets Grey Man Trophy of the Year, didn't he? Then you didn't even see him. Did you not even see him?
I didn't see him. I didn't see him. Vane was on track. Where did he qualify? Let's. All right, so we're going to get the previous race results up right now so that we can see this. All right, we're cutting to this. So you can see right now on screen race results from the race there. And absolutely right, 8th place in that race was Aerox Vane, the driver who was leading the field for Aerox in round number 1 at Brands Hatch. Way down the field this time out. Aerox Ridge repping Aerox with that beautiful move around the outside of Tactical and the final corner. That was truly incredible. And then Bokit and Vane, yeah, stuck there behind Taipar, just couldn't get past him.
Exactly, and I think we're seeing different results here because of different natures of the tracks that we've seen so far. Obviously, Brands Hatch was the first round, and then we've had the Bugatti circuit here today, and kind of feel like the Civic's really got something on the Audi there, but also that Chevy Cruze. It's still a force to be reckoned with. I have to say that Tacq did a great job defensively. Just a bit unlucky towards the end. I think he'd lost a position coming out the last double right-hander towards the start-finish line, but great job from him. Great job in the Chevys. Great job around, but that Audi just didn't seem to have it this time. Not for me anyway. It wasn't up there.
I agree.
It wasn't testing the B-Tech of the Hondas. Where was it? It was leading the Pentalon, but it wasn't leading the race.
You know, I think it could have been there if it had some clean air. I think both the Honda and the Audi are showing that they're struggling a little bit on this type of track if they don't have clean air. We saw Williams Mitch in that race run a 1:41.9. The fastest lap we've seen all day by a long way. Incredible. But still second place because he doesn't have the speed where he needs the speed. Doesn't have the speed on the corner exits, doesn't have the speed at the top end on the straights. He can't position that car for a deep dive in a real braking zone. He can catch up on the mid corner, catch up in moments when it's hard to make a move, and ultimately he's catching up enough to be going faster around a lap than Commando. But that Cruze has the pace where it needs it.
Absolutely, and let's talk strat, Alie. Let's
do it. Let's go strat.
We're going into race 2, right? We just saw what the Chevy Cruze can do. Now, Commando's going to be off the start, so he's now going to gain an even bigger lead. There's no cars, there's no obstructions in his way. There's nothing to stop him.
I need you to be moving little figurines around a large picture of Westeros while this happens. Is that possible?
Oh.
Can we add that to the strategy talk?
You mean like a Warhammer terrain? We could make like a miniature like Bugatti circuit, and then just like just get maybe the pieces out of a Monopoly, or just get the little houses even. Just get the little houses.
Sold.
Just
I'm
draw
all in.
wheels. Just no,
I can picture that. I can picture that. All right. So there's a little
If it
house
makes you feel
with
any
wheels
better.
on it, and it's Commando. Right. Continue.
He's got no obstructions in front of him. He's going to be getting away and extending an even bigger lead to what he just had in that race. That's going to make it super difficult for the likes of Mitch and Williams 7 to catch him. Again, Tactical is going to be starting in 5th. Now, he's going to be starting in one place further back than where he was, but I can be absolutely sure he knows what mistake he made in that first race in the early stages, and he won't be making that same mistake again if he can help it. I definitely feel that Tactical is going to get a podium position here. If he can hold it right, 7 did great. Towards the later stages, he was running consistent lap times. He was consistently pulling away. Maybe only 200 feet in front, but that 200 feet in front was enough to secure him that 3rd place. I don't think Tactical is going to give him the room to do that this time. I think we're going to see a Chevy 1 and 3, and a Honda Civic 2 and 4. And I'm still questioning the performance of that Audi. I just can't. I was expecting to see some fire in it, fire in the bellies. It just wasn't there for me in the Audi. So I don't know what to expect from the Audis this time.
I agree. I think the Audis, they're stuck in the doldrums this time. You can see like you said, they don't have that fire. They don't have that feeling of a wind behind them, of something that's really pushing them forward. They look like they're strolling. They look like they've got mediocre pace everywhere rather than being particularly fast anywhere. and that's always a difficult position to be in. Perhaps Le Mans Bugatti, a track that doesn't suit it as much as a few of the other more flowing circuits that we'll come to later on in the championship. But yeah, Bokit and Vane struggling there. Do keep in mind that was a strong result though for Ridge. 4th place, nothing to be shrugged about, and I think he'll be very happy with that result on a bit of an off day for his car. Mitch, though, I mean, I talk about this guy a lot. I come back to him often, and that's because he's the championship leader. But I think he'll want more this race. I think he'll want the win. You're writing it off. You're saying cruisers are going to take this. There's no way through for the Honda. But I feel as though Mitch is still going to. He's not going to give this up.
No, absolutely. I mean, and it wouldn't be right, and it wouldn't be proper to give this up. Absolutely not. But we're talking strats, Alie. Consistency. Commando was 100%. Didn't make one mistake. Sure, the Civic had more pace than the Chevy, and he was catching him even after he made that mistake going into the final lap. But it wasn't enough. And if one mistake is the difference between first and second, then I'm sorry. I think Commando's going to take it. I absolutely do, because if he's not made a mistake, when Commando doesn't make a mistake, he just doesn't make a mistake.
Yeah.
It's like it has to. If there's a pattern that formulates, and if that pattern is making no mistakes, that will continue through the rest. But you know, we know that Commando's been unlucky from time to time, especially Bugatti circuit. I think he's righting a few wrongs here today.
Well, he has done so far. We'll see how that bakes out for the Jota driver as we enter race number 2. The cars rolling out onto the circuit as we speak and getting ready for their formation lap. It's a good opportunity in these touring car races to do a formation lap. I think it's very important in this championship, especially because front wheel drive cars are a little bit different when they're going off the line. And the first corner often in a race tune in a front wheel drive car, the rear of the car will just fly out if it's cold. So due to the way the drivers tune these cars, so I think it's a good thing to do to have a warm-up lap, and I quite enjoy it as a spectator as well. It's quite nice to see them sort of pootling around in a nice formation.
Absolutely. I have to say, towards the end of that race 1, there was definitely something that we weren't talking about because all the action was at the top, but Matt Gaming finishing last, and he's got every bit of opportunity. He's got nothing to lose, that man. He's going to be looking strong. Your grey man candidate, Alie. He's starting away at the back. But he's got nothing to lose and everything to prove. So great position for him. Sean 1528, a privateer in Lobby A. We didn't see any of him either. And obviously he's going to be trying to make his way through as well. We've got AMS Merckx. Did very well at round 1. Definitely finished in the top 10 a few times. But seems to be struggling in the Audi here at Bugatti. And TUS Spectre, someone I don't think we saw, made Lobby A in round 1. Was reduced down to Lobby B. He's made his way through, starting in 12th, and he'll be battling hard with SVR Chasmo, an ex-TUS member, and I think those two are going to go at it, and a few rounds in the ring. Williams Roadrunner, though, will be finishing off the top 10. I think that's someone we've got to watch out for a little bit more. Good place for someone who feels uncomfortable.
I agree. Well, I mean, Lobby A is impressive, no matter who you are, no matter where you're from. We've been watching the warm-up lap here. Mitch perhaps playing a few mind games with Commando there at the back of the track, running his car up alongside him and just trying a few sort of over-unders on him. We're jumping back, though, to Commando's teammate, Tactical, who was absolute lightning off the line in race number 1, and we can expect the same again from that Chevy Cruze. So sitting on board here with Tactical HD1, running 5th position. He's got a few places to jump up here, and I think every opportunity to do so as the cars get themselves settled down onto the line. Commando finds his position and everyone behind him settles in. Race start very soon. Race 2, the Apex Online Racing Touring Car Championship, brought to you by Alie Tacq and Aaron Martin-Pilkington. Here in the booth and watching down as the drivers get ready to raise the revs. A few of them playing with those throttles, we can hear it already. Get ready for the start of this one. Any second now, the clutch will drop. Let's get back on board with Tactical. It's a good one, Melish.
Yeah, fantastic. Tactical trying to weave his way through the two Civics, pushing his way through, sent his wrist to the pit lane wall. Vane is trying to make his way to the inside of Type R, and so is Bokit. He fends them off, but Williams 7 and Mitch and Ridge all get dogged by the pace of Tactical. Tactical in second place. How long can he keep it? Type R gets hit off the track there from one of the Aerox boys. He's way off at the chicane, and he comes back onto the track in 15th place, all the way back down to last. Fast start for Type R.
Awful for Type R, falling yet back in 15th, as you say. We can actually jump on board very briefly with him here, behind his teammate SCT Slipstream, who's also running here in Lobby A, but we're back on board up the top with Williams 7, who's trying it round the outside of Aerox Ridge in the second hairpin. Beautiful, beautiful move. Sadly, a little bit too pretty, I think, for touring cars. Didn't quite work out this time. And look at that. Look how much pace Ridge is losing just down the straights compared to that Honda Civic.
No, I'm not even looking at that, Ali. Look, it is Aerox versus Williams. It's 3-on-3. It's a 6-man in the middle of this battle. Bokit's the guy in the back. We got Rogan making his way through the 7 from 10th off the grid with only half a lap gone. Vane in 6th, Ridge in 5th, 7 and Mitch in 2nd. Oh, sorry, 3rd and 4th. And it's not spread out, Ali. It is certainly not spread out. This is going to be such a battle. I absolutely love it. Let's go.
Let's go. Awesome. Awesome to see. We're on board right now, running with the person at the back of that pack. Of course, that's Aerox Bokit with Williams Roadrunner just ahead of him. It's a... I mean, this is massive. Williams Esports 3-on-3 up against Aerox with Vane there touching the gravel. Roadrunner finds his way through. Gets a little bit of a bump from Bokit, just helping him find a little bit more top speed. And a threat from GTR Cami as they run through Dunlop. Bokit holds him off for now. Blimey. It's, we were talking about this rivalry cooking up, about Williams Esports and Aerox Motorsport maybe becoming a little bit sort of team rivals in this championship. We saw Vane and Seven bumping into each other back at Brands Hatch. We've dug into that battle that those two had. Right now, today, it looks like Williams are coming out a little classier than Aerox, but it's not all over yet, not by any means. I mean, Melish, do you think Aerox have what it takes here to beat Williams?
I have to say, well, I absolutely do, and I think Ridge has been sensational for the Aerox Motorsport team. He is really, I wouldn't say punched above his weight. I've never really seen him as a front-wheel drive driver. He's always been GT, expert for me, but he's come out here, both arms windmill swinging. And I think he's doing a fantastic job in that Audi at the moment. I really do, honestly. Praise where praise is due. He's doing a fantastic job. My question right now is, how much love do Mitch and Tactical have for each other right now? They used to be teammates in TX3 for the virtual drivers. No more. Privateer and Tactical, Mitch with the Williams Esports team, and they are going bumper to bumper right now. And Mitch is trying to find a way through.
On board with Mitch, who's ducking left, ducking right. He knows that if he wants to have any chance at all of overtaking Joseph Commando for the lead of this race, he'll need to pass Tactical quickly, rake past the teammate and start pushing towards the race leader. Tactical doesn't want to make that easy for him. Starting lap number 4, of course, it's the 3rd lap in anger after the warm-up lap. That one does count in the lap counter.
Oh, what a great run
close
through
as
there.
anything.
Unbelievable. It's such liquid motion the way they step through there. Look at that, Mitch trying it around the outside. Goes for the cutback. Tactical blocks him off. I wonder if Tactical runs a bit wide. No, he doesn't. Keeps it all 4 tyres in clean. And Seven's just sitting there patiently biding his time. It reminds me of a carp fisherman, Seven. Sits there and waits for the big one. And then just strikes.
I love that. I'm grinning back here. Yeah, I completely agree. Seven, he's that kind of driver. He's we call them silent assassins sometimes. The kind of driver who will be opportunistic, he'll snipe, he'll take a position when he's given one. But maybe, the way to catch carp, I guess, isn't to jump up and down and make a lot of noise. It's not to jump in the water and try and grab one with your bare hands. You have to be patient, you have to wait for the carp to come to you. That's very much Seven's philosophy out there on track. Not a driver who's going to throw the nose up the inside, do anything careless like that.
Mitch forcing his way through the double right-hander. Is he going to force Tactical into the sand? No, he doesn't. Oh my God, how close was that? Tactical nearly eating sand. That was desperate from Mitch. Mitch made it work though. I think the gloves are off. Seven looking for a room as well. This is the time to strike where Tactical is vulnerable. Commando getting away at the front, storming, no challenges. Tactical sent up the inside. He's going to try and squeeze him. Keep him on the inside. Seven. He's going to take the inside as well. Is it going to be Williams on the inside? No, he filters back through. And this has allowed Rich back up, who made a mistake earlier on in this race. He's back up through. Mitch late under brakes. Tactical going for the dive bomb. It's a three sandwich. Look at that. Both Williams boys losing out, and Roadrunner's come into the mix. He's sifted his way up from 10th to 5th, lap 5 out of 9. Tactical all the way around the outside, and he's going to squeeze Mitch. Can he get the run here? Oh, that's Roadrunner on Ridge. Yes, let's go.
I cannot believe this fighting. What brilliant battles here. It's lap 5 of 9. Race 2 of the AOR TCC here at Le Mans Bugatti. And it is setting fire. The racing looking awesome on board right now with Williams Roadrunner. For me, Mellish, the man of today is Tactical HD1. I'm going to call it. We've seen Tactical out there racing.
I'll put it on Twitter now.
We've seen him racing a whole lot, but I've never seen Tactical look this punchy. Never seen him have this kind of pace to race at the very top on Forza Motorsport 7. It looks like a new Tactical to me, and one who's very, very much more convincing than he's ever been as a racer who's at the very, very top of Forza.
Absolutely not. I couldn't agree with you more, but he's still got his work cut out for him in this race, laps 6 and 9. And I have to say, Mitch, I think if I'm Mitch now, Commando's way ahead. You're battling for the second place. Help your teammates out. Slow that pack up. Williams Roadrunner is now in 4th. 6th place is gained, and 7 is looking extremely aggressive as well. He's again been the Williams driver to lose out. That kart fishing has not been great and success for him. He is now battling side by side with Ridge, and I have to say Bokit and Vane are looking opportunistic as well, all filtering through. 7 way off the racing line, being pushed off the track, and Bokit is coming through. Vane is trying to sniff an opportunity as well. Cammy is looking for an opportunity. No sign of Taipar, and Merckx is about to get involved.
This battle is still raging on. 5 drivers here in the mid-pack, all fighting away. We've sort of zoomed in here on Bokit, but we should really jump on board with Cammy, I think, who's in a real position to make a daring move here. He's got 4 cars up ahead. Aerox Motorsport and Williams Motorsport both represented in that pack. And he could really make something happen here for GTR. GTR, a team we don't see so often at the very top of the pack as we used to once upon a time, and it's nice to see him out racing now. Nice to see him in the form of Cammy, way back up there and very much represented well here in Lobby A. Very cool to see.
Yeah, great job, and great job for Merckx. I think he started 12th on the grid, up to 10th place, and he's got a big buffer there from 11th. That's SVR, Chasmo, and Spectre still going at it. Very close to the back end as well with Matt Gaming and JSR Type R trying to find his way through. It's that close that he's only made up a couple of spots in 6 laps. So Type R's having his work cut out as well. This is not an easy job. This is not an easy ride, this Lobby A, and it's split by a couple of tenths. Cammy looking eager though in the Honda Civic on Vane. It's side by side.
Vane holding him out late on the brakes. Very late. Amazing that Cammy held that, that Vane held that together. I thought Vane was going to be out in the wilderness. With a tap, slammed on the brakes and managed to keep that car on the track. Cammy held back for now. His Civic looking like it's running top end though, and will be thrusting back onto Vane at the next straight for my money, and that could even be just after this corner.
Yeah, Commando continuing his fine form, 100% success rate so far in this championship, when he's attended, that is. And he's going for win 2 in race 2. And that's going to be such a good stat for him. That means, though, as we know, he'll be starting... he'll be starting. He won't be starting straight at the back of the pack. It's done in qualifying, isn't it? He'll be starting at the back of the pack, though, and will he be able to, replicate what Mitch did at Brands Hatch in the reverse grid? That's going to be the question. We haven't seen that from him just yet, but that's a question we need to be asking.
this. The Aerox boys boxing Cammy in.
Merckx!
Boket in front to his left vein. Merckx slipping through on Cammy. He's moving up the inside now. Wants to make two happen here. He's up the inside of Vane, making this look easy. Merckx, very spunky little run there from the AMS driver. Sneaks one on Cammy, and Cammy wants it back almost immediately as we run through the back turn here. Trying around the outside, and Merckx is going to resolve that move. That touch on the gravel, gets away with it. Blimey, this mid-pack is on fire.
I'm saying it again, Ali. The Audi looks compromised here. It's not running at 110% like the other two cars are. It looks like this is one of the tracks on the calendar it's slightly suffering at, because the Civic has just got slight top end and will beat that Audi to the Dunlop chicane, given the room and the draft. It will do it. So these guys in the Audis have to go in the defensive from turn 1. And they have to keep it there, but great job from Merckx to kind of sift through the pack there. He's racked up a bunch of points. Looks like Roadrunner's going at it.
I will say that it's the Audi RS3 we're talking about there, the newer, the newer Audi, the older Audi, the S3 we're sitting on board with for Merckx is it's running pretty well. It's pretty sweet out there. It looks like it's got a little bit more top end than its newer counterpart. Certainly has the pace on it. Aerox Vane up ahead, still under threat. He's been fighting and defending all through this race, and it's not going to end for him just yet. Lap 8 of 9, so one more remains after this, and Vane's almost pulled this off, almost held on to 8th.
Yeah, what a grand job. Williams 7 though, fastest lap of the race with a 41.8. Probably one of the first guys to break into 41s. We didn't see them in qualifying, but we've definitely seen him here in race. And maybe that's because there's a bit of track extension going on, and certainly drafting. But it's all clean, it's all fair, and it's all fun. This ain't Formula 1. This is boxing with wheels.
Williams 7, setting some fast times, but he's running back with a big old gap to the car up ahead. Here in 5th position. The road, things getting a little close there in the fight for 3rd. It might just be worth jumping on board with 4th place runner Williams Roadrunner. And, you know, someone who's really, he had a quiet race 1. He wasn't really around, finished around 10th. Of course, you know, season 3 Forza Racing champion right here. This is, you know, best in the world quality we're looking at right now. And Roadrunner, after a quiet race 1, really turning the volume up a little bit in race number 2 and managing to string together a result which, you know, much more believable from him as a you know, Williams esports result.
Absolutely, but front-wheel drive is not his forte, Ali. He's more of an LMP driver. He likes those high pace, high downforce, you know, fast cars. This front-wheel drive he's way out of his territory. So to be in 4th place, to gain 6 positions, is great. And do you know what's even better about this? It's because he didn't have the greatest qualifying. He's going to be starting up towards the front of the grid. And if he can do this against the top drivers in A-Lobby, what do you think he's going to do when he comes against the bottom drivers in A-Lobby? I'm thinking that Roadrunner is on form to actually take the win in race number 3. I really do. If everything goes his way, he's got this in the bag.
So far, everything's gone Jota Commando's way. He crosses the line, takes win number 2. The Apex Online Racing Touring Car Championship. Williams Mitch in 2nd with Tactical in 3rd. A great run from Tactical. Roadrunner 4th with 7 5th. Ridge, Boket and Vane. 3 Aerox drivers sitting there in, well, the lower half of the top 10. Not a great run from Aerox here, but nonetheless a decent amount of points they managed to pull in. A decent haul, even if it's not their week. How about that, Melish? How about that for a performance from Tactical, especially? I mean, what a drop.
I said it.
I
called it. I said he finished 3rd. You never believe me. Why do we have trust issues on this? You just never take anything I say seriously, and it really does hurt me a little bit inside. It just chips away in my heart a little bit.
That's what I do, man. That's what I do. I just chip away.
Your job is to ask questions, but never to doubt myself. Come on, man. You know, there's got to be a line. You've got to draw it somewhere. You know, I'm a sensitive person. But I've got to say, great job from Tactical there. He really did prove himself. I feel that Tactical as a defensive driver, he has it. He knows what he's doing, and even he may say that Bugatti is not his circuit, but defensive is an entirely different skill, regardless of track. He did a great job there. He had to fend off Roadrunner in the later stages. Roadrunner, the big up-and-comer for me. Great to make those 6th position. Merckx was on the tail as well for being a big up-and-comer. Made his way through into the top 10, was challenging on the Aerox boys in the older generation Audi. Managed to get past on Cami, so Cami lost out there a little bit. But we still are not seeing that RS3. The RS3 is looking compromised, and I have to say, even on the defense, these guys are going to have to really defend now. They're going to have to super defend. But I just don't think they can keep that top end of the Civic behind them. There's too many straights with Bugatti. This is a MotoGP track. This is not a touring car track. And I think that shows in the top end. These guys in the Hondas of the Chevy are able to extend where the Audis cannot do that. And I think that next round at Mugello Club Circuit is going to be a whole different ballgame.
I mean, like you say, it's a MotoGP track. It's all about cars that go a little bit faster around Le Mans Bugatti. Next time we go to Mugello, I don't know if it's too dissimilar. It's just the club circuit, and so we are leaning on that big old straight from the back corner down to turn 1 once again. I wonder if that's going to be something sort of a little bit between these two tracks. Of course, the asphalt's a lot smoother at Mugello as well, though, and so you do get sort of a much more believable 2 lines out there on track. The ability for overtaking is markedly different at the Italian circuit than here in France. For now, though, for today, we're coming up to the reverse grid race. It's going to be Williams Mitch way back there in last position after qualifying on pole, side by side with his teammate 7th. And I think in front of them, the row is going to be 2 of the Remus Racing drivers. That's Tactical and Commando in the second to last row on the grid. We've seen some explosive starts from those 2 so far today, but when there are that many cars ahead of you, if you get off the line that quickly, you can often just be getting yourself a little bit faster into an incident. Is that going to help them here, or is it going to sort of stop them from being able to sort of sit back and watch what the pack does through the first couple of corners?
I don't think they're going to sit back. I think they're going to try to capitalize on the launch. I mean, that's what the Chevy is known for, and you've got to use a car to its advantages. Yes, like you say, you could play it safe and kind of, understand people's driver lines and formulate a plan and make it smooth, but that's just not how Commando and Tactical do things. The Team Commandical.
Yeah, I love it.
That's not the way. I didn't even mean to do that. But I don't think that's the way. I don't think that's what they're going to be doing. I don't honestly. Yeah. Like it was very interesting, Alie, to see how much with the right start that Tactical could get off the 3rd row of the grid. Remember, these guys are not side by side. They are distant 25 feet apart, and he started 5th. So that means he started 150 feet behind, 120 feet behind first place. He managed to get to 3rd.
Right.
Well, actually, no, right. He managed to get to 2nd, in fact. So he managed to gap at least 100 feet. Now, that's huge. I'm interested to see how much more he can gain. What's the kind of cutoff point for how many people you can dog at the start, That's what I'm looking. I'm eager to find out. Can he do 4 rows? Can he get 4 people off the start? We're going to find out, and I'm super excited to see that. But no, Alie, we're not going for your passive aggressive. Oh, let's just take a step back and see where everyone's doing. So just get it in there, and get
it done. Well, tightly your sex tape right there. It's Forza's Brangelina. Forza's Brangelina are what we're looking at right here. Commando and Tactical both doing a beautiful job out there today.
Oh god!
And they've really been our testers. We knew the Chevy was fast off the line. We saw it back at Brands as well. We knew it in theory before the championship started. But 100 feet on the Honda Civics is incredible. That's such a lot. What does that come down to? Is that just buoyancy on the engine or tyre width on the front? I mean, why is it so quick off the line? They're both front-wheel drive. They're both turbocharged, probably flat 4s or something. They're very similar cars in the way they're put together. Why is one so much quicker?
If I knew the answer, I would tell you, but I honestly don't know. I just don't know. Right. I think it's Forza physics. If you were to put these cars on a track in real life, you'd probably see very little difference. I mean, yes, one's in the world. Well, one I think used to run in the World Touring Car Championship, and the others obviously British touring cars. But I think they'd be very similar in pace, you know. And I just don't. I don't know. I just think it's Forza physics. Like, we'll give this one boost, and we'll give this one handling, and we'll give that one top end. I kind of feel that's how they do it. You know,
Yeah, just hand
and
it
it makes
out,
sense.
just hand them out.
Yeah, just hand it out.
I hear you.
But 2 wins out of 2 for Commander Cool. Oh my god, I've got to stop doing that. But I didn't even mean to do that. 2 wins out of 2 for Commander.
We're making this happen. We're making this happen.
It's gonna be hashtagging. So we've got 2 wins out of 2 for Commando. He missed the first round, but what a start for the guy. I have to say, I think Mitch is going to be edging Ridge here on points. Roadrunner's coming out of nowhere to score his big. You know, I think he missed out on last week as well. I think he quit before the races began, so he's got no drop rounds anymore. So this is a great bunch of points for him. I think he can consolidate an actual race victory here in race number 3 if he gets his start right. If he can make it through the finest drivers, he can make it through the slowest drivers, and that's no disrespect to those people. It is all relatively fast within Lobby A. It has to be, but I have to say, I think Roadrunner's got the best chance of winning right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, he'll be way out of position. His pace is good enough for podiums, it looks like, but he's going to be starting well further up this field. I think in 6th place in this final race. So Williams Roadrunner likely able to break this pack pretty quickly. At the same time, we know that Tactical and Commando can jump 1 full row on the grid, maybe even 2. So they could be, you know, all the way from the 13th and 14th position, attacking into the top 10 by the first corner. If their Chevy Cruze can find a gap that's Chevy Cruze sized to fit itself through, that is, there's only finite room on the track surface, and someone may well block them. But if they find their way through, they could be up there and behind Roadrunner. And so I don't know if this isn't going to be easy for Roadrunner by any means. I think that's what I'm getting across here. Is that it's not going to be straightforward.
Absolutely. And now we've got to look at the other. Well, we've got to look at the bottom 5 that we just haven't paid attention to because the action's been so great. That we haven't paid attention really. We've got Matt Gaming in first off the grid, Spectre in second, Sean in third, Chasmo, all the young guns really. SCT Slipscreen had a great performance actually in at Brands Hatch India. I think he won the race if I'm not mistaken in the reverse grid. Slipstream took that win, I'm pretty sure. Barry lost out to Slipstream. I think Slipstream took it, so he's well capable of taking the race win here. And then we've got Roadrunner in 6th, and that's going to be the man to watch really. But top 5 guys are going to have a blast at this. You know, they've got every chance of taking a race win and bagging a big amount of points.
But say, how good is it to see TUS Spectre out there in Lobby A? Missed out in the first week, but he's here representing Heart Racing, the TCR team from the USA. And yeah, fantastic to see them out represented here in AOR TCC. TUS Spectre up in A Lobby, I think where he should be, and representing, yeah, a great team at the very pinnacle of Forza Motorsport 7.
Just a news update. Race 1, Commando 1. Race 2, Commando 1. Who will be winning the 3rd race? As these guys these drivers warm up their tyres and get underway. They'll be starting off the grid again. Can the Chevys make the leap from the back? And can the guys like Matt Damon up front hold their nerve?
We have to get on board with Commando, don't we? We have to. I mean, it's 14th place start, but the Chevy's,
I know.
The Chevy's crazy. It's too fast off the line. We have to watch that.
I know, but I feel bad for the people up front, you know? I feel like they deserve some airtime, Alie. Stop being greedy. Selfishness is not nice.
Okay.
No, we'll do it.
We'll jump between them. We'll do like a stereoscope thing where I hit the jump button really quickly. So
am I going to get my binoculars out and like, we can see first place up there getting overtaken. Like, just, you know what I mean? Like, just my monocle out.
It's your monocle out.
I do need a monocle.
I think this has to happen. This has to happen. We have to get Melish's trademark monocle.
Why is Commando so far? Oh, I thought. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
He's wanted such a big run. It feels like, yeah, he wants such a big run, Alie, that he's just giving himself like a 100-foot buffer. He's waiting for it. God
A
damn
bit
it,
of
I'm gonna have to give you
rejigging, the
update.
tyre
I'll
temperature will reduce.
tell you what, mate. I'll go up front. I'll go up front, and you tell me what's happening. You do the race, and I'll keep you updated what's happening up front.
No, we'll sit back. We're going to watch it. We've got to sit back here. We'll hop forward in a second to the leading pack, but I just want to see Commando off the line here and into Dunlop.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch it too.
Get on here. Get back in, mate. I've got my second Xbox set over at Spectre, so we can hop forward if we need. All right, race number 3 of the Apex Online Racing Touring Car Championship. It's the final round here from Le Mans Bugatti, and the revs are high. The car's getting ready to get underway, and they're dropping the clutch. Commando up the inside, chooses the pit wall run. Tactical's going to be a little further into the track, already up into the top 10 for Tactical, and Commando following him through. That's a solid wall of touring car up ahead, though. And I don't know where Commando can put his cars and find his way through there. Bokit, very aggressive on the inside. This is going to get punchy as they head through the Dunlop chicane. Cars everywhere. Williams 7 up the inside, Commando wide, back to 13th position. Up in the lead of this race, Spectre's lost out 1 position. It's a lockout of Sean and Matt at the front. Sean and Matt, teammates here in Lobby A, holding 1 and 2 in race number 3. I love that.
What a great start there. You were absolutely right, Ali. It was great to watch the Chevys go off there into the first chicane, but after that, it was just a gaggle of cars, nowhere to go, and that's allowed Williams 7 his way through. Mitch is stuck at the back. He's going to have a right old time trying to get past Type R and Cami, all in Honda Civics as well, so it's going to come down to driver skill for those guys. But what a great job from Sean and Matt out front. Let's get back on board with those guys. Can't wait to see what they're doing up there.
You're absolutely right. We're actually almost on board with them. We're on board with Aerox Vane, who I didn't realize how far up the grid he'd started. It must have been significant, though, because he's already fighting for 3rd position. That last step on the podium, just behind the purple and blue car, you can see there is Williams Roadrunner. The driver Melish was repping for the race win here, already fighting his way up towards the back of this podium battle, as Vane finally makes his way past and around Spectre, the Hart Racing red and black Civic, and onto the podium. Up ahead, the 2 orange and blue cars, teammates Matt Gaming 6661 and Sean, both of whom sort of repping a sort of privateer lifestyle out here in the top of the tables, but 1 and 2 right now, and they're going to want to hold on to that.
Disaster for Chasmo, though. Ran into the sand and going into the start finish from Tactical. Tactical is looking hungry. He's got his knife and fork out and serviette. He's in 6th place right now. Roadrunner's gone into 5th as well, and he's on the back. He's already in 6th. The man is in 6th. He is coming. He's all guns blazing right now. All rockets are firing. Roadrunner into 5th, and he's challenging on Spectre. Spectre's going to hold him out wide. Goes back towards the race line, uses the curb for rotation. Matt Gaiman and Sean. Sean's taking the lead from Matt, and Sean looks poised to take the victory. Lap 3 of 9, 6 laps remaining, and Vane is in that 3rd spot, looking hungry. Come on, Vane, you got this.
You say that. We're sitting on board here with Tactical, who's starting to threaten Williams Roadrunner. I can't believe I'm saying that. Roadrunner starting significantly higher up this grid than Tactical, but a peach of a start. We saw him in the mid-track running side by side with his teammate, and Tactical's way up in this order. Up ahead, though, we're going to jump forward right now to Vane, who's spoiling for that move on Matt 6661.
Come on, Matt.
It's a nice one.
Come on,
Push
Matt,
up the
hold him.
inside, and Vane looking strong round the outside now, and neither car can throw the other, but Matt's going to have a very long run now round the outside of the last corner, and Vane makes that work. Up into 2nd for Aerox, and
So does
Sean
Spectre.
standing between him and the race
Man
win.
just got here to the sand. Spectre just ran him wide. He's another person to be a victim of the sand, so Matt and Chasmo both into the sand at the start-finish line. Lap 4, Vane into 2nd, Spectre into 3rd, and Roadrunner and Tacq bump up one. And they're doing nothing. They're just sitting back and watching the calamity happen. Sean has got it all to do. No teammates to help him out anymore. There's no buffer to Vane, and Vane is looking incredible.
Well, we sat back there with Matt for a second or two, just watching what happened to him. 11th place, he's sunk back to the chain of cars behind us. You can see it on the mini-map. There's absolutely nothing separating the 16 cars on track. Everyone
Absolutely
is
love it,
bunched.
Alie.
There's no gaps. And if you slide off the track a little bit, everyone comes pouring through. Still on board here with Tactical and looking forward up the road. And that battle for the lead, I think, is going to set fire very soon. Every driver will be thinking, now's the time. I need to get up there. I need to be fighting with second place driver Aerox Vane. I need to be fighting with Sean because if Vane gets ahead and Vane starts gapping, there may be no time to reel him in.
Oh, Williams, Mitch has made his way up, going past his teammate 7 into the high-speed chicane. He'll take that 9th place. Last time we looked on board with him, he was in dead last, into 9th, just behind Chasmo. Chasmo looking nervous right now. He's going to go up the inside of Chasmo as well, so Chasmo's done and dusted. As Merckx has made his way through as well. Bokit looking strong. Tactical looks like he's on the defensive. Him and Bokit going at it once again. They were out at Brands Hatch, and it's no different here at Bugatti.
Mitch still making this move on Chasmo, work up the inside here at the final corner. That's an offer you can't refuse. And now Mitch onto the front straight and up that one more position into 8th place and well within the top 10. Nice to see. Further up this field, Roadrunner finally pushing through onto actually incorrect. Roadrunner staying in 4th place. I thought he'd found his way up to 3rd there for a second, but Spectre doing a great job staying in that podium. Let's hop on board here with Spectre if we can, as he just runs through the long right-hander turn number 4. It's been a nice run from Spectre, not somebody we've seen at the top here, Mellish, a whole lot, but a driver you're very familiar with. What's Spectre like as a driver? I mean, coming from TUS as you do.
He's come a long way, but he's definitely nurturing towards this community event. I wouldn't say front wheel drive is his thing, but he's absolutely putting on a fine performance here. He's one to put graft in. That's why I'd say he's committed. He always wants to learn. He's never defeated by, he's never one of these guys that's, how'd you do that? He's always, teach me, show me how to do things. He's intuitive, he learns, he puts the commitment in, and it's paying off here. He's been at the back of Lobby A. I didn't think he was actually going to make Lobby A, so he's proved me wrong already, and that's just my confidence in him. I should give him more than he deserves, well, he deserves more than I give him, I should say. He's doing great here, absolutely fantastic from Spectre.
That's fantastic to see, and great to see Heart Racing, as I was mentioning earlier, being represented here in the AOR TCC in such an awesome way. Looks like Vane though is going to go for the move. Just shows his nose to the leader, Sean. Sean unflappable there in the lead of this race. That's 6 of 9, so only 4 more rotations of this track to go. And Sean perhaps starting to wonder, starting to dare to dream if he's going to be able to hold on to this. It would be an incredible performance from a driver who, I'll admit, I wasn't aware of before this championship. I don't know Sean, but I'm happy that I do now, and I'm happy to see him out there racing and representing at this level, and able to just absorb a whole lot of pressure that Aerox Vane is dishing out.
Yeah, back at the mid pack of this battle as well. Commando cannot get a breather as Vane looks up the inside. Sean just gives him the bump. Is he going to make the run? Looks like Sean is just going to keep it to the inside. He's got to return the compliment, pinch him towards that white line, pinch him, pinch that racing line. He hasn't, he's given loads of room. I think that Vane is going to make an ideal cutback here and have the racing line, and he's going to shove Sean once again wide. No, both respecting each other there, giving each other room. Sean needs to start to move over. He needs to move over. He's in no position right now. That's it. Mid-track, pinch Vane's line. Make it go all the way around and secure that first spot. That is a huge...
Wow.
Whoa. Whoa.
Big old lift
No
there from
way.
Vane. He's
Look at
lifted so
Spectre.
much that Vane
Yes.
Roadrunner's looking. There's a moment of weakness there from Vane as he says, all right, fair's fair. I've cut a lot there. That little moment of weakness was almost enough to lose him 3 positions. Shows how much the pack behind his bunch. Just Roadrunner throws out the inside of Spectre. Takes that 3rd position on the last corner. He's been spoiling for that move for a little while. And now Roadrunner looking forward up the track towards Aerox Vane and that battle for the lead.
Look at how eager were those guys. It was like vultures on a dead animal. It was like Vane was up for the taking. I loved it. Roadrunner's into 3rd place, Spectre into 4th, and now Tactical has been brought back into the mix there. Commando all the way down in 9th, just can't catch a break. 7 constantly challenging him, and you've got to think in the point standing. He cannot let Mitch get away. The only saving grace that Mitch has got is he's got a big gang of cars in front of him as Vane makes the move on Sean. Clean as you like, clean as a whistle, and he's going to trail brake into this corner. Sean running it right around the curb. Vane was going to have to go super wide. He's off the track again. Track limits, so the racing marshal's going to have a look at that. As I think, honestly, if I'm Sean, just let Roadrunner pass. Let him pass, and let him catch up to Vane. We know what a Civic can do. And now it's Civic on Audi, and it's all, as this race has been going on here at Bugatti circuit, the Civic has always won over the Audi. What can Roadrunner do here? Sean's slipping back to third already.
I love that. Let Roadrunner pass. I don't think Roadrunner minded one way or the other. You can let me pass, you cannot. I'm coming through one way or the other, and I'm having second position. Aerox Vane, importantly, not getting the opportunity that he would have wanted to get away from Sean before Roadrunner broke through. He would have hoped for half a lap, a whole lap maybe, of Sean and Roadrunner fighting. And he didn't get that opportunity. So now Roadrunner out and through into second position, and only one car length between the leader and second place. This race very much alive.
Absolutely, and this is going to allow Sean to get back up there, because as long as these two guys are battling, they're going to be losing time. Spectre losing a bunch of time as well. He's on the forefront of a battle with Tactical. Tactical can sense weakness. He wants to get up there and join the crew at the front for some big points. He wants to get that podium position, and he can't because Spectre is in the way. Bokit and Mitch going at it. Mitch up to 6th now, and Commando's following him through. He's going right the way around the outside. Aerox Bokit separating Commando for the Remus Racing team, and Williams Mitch in 6th place. That's going all off. 7's there as well. Merckx is in that battle. It is 3 wide going into turn 5 for the guys in the mid-pack. I love this action. Absolutely love this action.
Unbelievable racing up and down this pack. I don't know where to look. I'll admit it. Williams 7, 9th place here, fighting out with Jota Commando. Bokit's involved in that action as well. Takes a knock on the fairing there as Commando leans on him a little bit. Up ahead in the lead of this race, Vane is starting to sneak away a little bit for my money. Starting to get away from this. But for every inch that Vane gets away, Sean's applying pressure to the rear of Roadrunner. Behind him, Spectre still fighting out with Tactical, that Remus Racing car for the first time today, the leading Remus Racing driver after Commando won race 1 and 2, but it's Commando fighting way back in 7th in this second race. An unbelievable performance from all the drivers out there. It's been so exciting to watch them as Vane comes through to begin the final lap. The final lap already, Melesh. Only one more to go here at Bugatti.
There's just no time to breathe in a 9-lap race. Absolutely love it. Tactical still in 5th, and Sean is now being the defensive. He doesn't want to lose that final step on the podium. The Spectre, but Spectre's looking hungry, going into the unlock chicane for the final time. Sean under brakes, trail brakes, both get swirly. Tactical tries to go right away around the outside. That isn't going to work, and now Mitch is there, and it's Chevy on Honda Civic. It's Remus Racing versus Williams, and Mitch is trying to find a way through here. Can he get a full place to match his Brands Hatch Indy record? Oh, and that Spectre well wide. Look at this, it's side by side.
Spectre doesn't want to give it up. Holding that inside line, leaning on Tactical down that straight, and how close was Spectre to the gravel on the exit to the right-hander. Unbelievable. I thought he was out for sure, especially with that big old nudge from Tactical, but Spectre making that happen, sticking on the track, sticking on the black stuff, and just about by his fingernails holding on to that 4th position. It'd be a real coup for him if he can make it happen, but it looks like up ahead, it's going to be Aerox Vane who takes this win unless anything major happens in these final few corners.
What a great race from Vane at the moment. It's not all over at the back though here. Jota Commando has found a way on Mitch. Commando has decreased that points buffer, that position buffer that Mitch had. Mitch forces his way through on the inside, cuts off Commando. Tactical's trying to give his teammate the edge here, and it's Spectre that's holding them all up here. Oh, it's going to be close to the race line. Commando goes up the inside. He goes up the inside, punches Mitch, bumper and run there. Commando goes up with his teammate Tactical as well. And it's Remus Racing 5th and 6th place. Spectre will take 4th, and Mitch loses out, and that Mitch and 7 will have to settle for 6th and 7th. What a final! What a finish to that race!
Unbelievable racing. I've loved it. Loved every second of that. Aerox Vane takes the win. It's about time he got one. Tucked a win away there, and he'll be very happy for that indeed. Behind him, Roadrunner showing his pace, showing his promise here in front-wheel drive, and I'm ecstatic to see that for Williams Roadrunner. He's always a great contender to have out there on track, and it's great to see him succeeding. I love how tactical is driving though, Mellish. I can't get over it. Every single race now, I'm just like tuning in for tactical. I'm just sitting there, I'm like, let's go. Let's have another fight. Let's get the elbows out there and see how we do. Beautiful driving from tactical today.
That was fantastic driving. He just missed out there. His teammate got it, but if you're going to lose it to anybody, it might as well be your teammate there. He was hungry, and Spectre wouldn't give him the opportunity. Great defensive, no buckling. Spectre did not once buckle under pressure there. His defensive capabilities have come from on leaps and bounds. Great job from him. So is Sean. Third place. He's got a podium. He has got a podium. He's gone from the back of the pack in race 1 and race 2 to standing on that podium. Great job from Vane as well. Fantastic. Unlucky for Matt Gaming. I feel that he deserved it, but that sand trap is absolutely a momentum killer. If you're going to race a Bugatti, whatever you do, first rule, do not extend out if you feel like you're going to hit that sand trap. It will kill all speed. It's such a brutal part of this track, Alie.
That was an unbelievable moment to see. Matt just slipping out wide onto the gravel, and I mean, going from 3rd, I think, all the way back to 11th in the space of just, one straight with his speed rubbed off. That was absolutely incredible. Spectre as well, a real performance from Spectre today, and just so cool to see him out there repping Heart Racing and doing it at this level. I think with Harmonic as well on the Heart team, it felt like Harmonic was going to be the driver to really rep Heart, but Spectre picking up that mantle and doing such a great job with it here at the very, very pinnacle of Forza 7. What a day of racing, Mersh. What are your final thoughts here from Le Mans Bugatti?
I never thought you could get so much interesting racing at Bugatti, because if you can remember, the last time we saw anybody do anything competitive at Bugatti, it was in the C9, the Mercedes, with sim steering and no traction. Do you remember that race? And it was just carnage, the twitching everywhere. And this just felt so much more gripping. I have to say, when you look at the calendar, for me, Bugatti circuit just raises a question mark. Like, does it belong here? Really, does it? You're never really sure until the day arrives, and boy, oh boy, it absolutely does. And if there's any other touring car championships, it has to include Bugatti circuit. It really does. Like, that was unbelievable. I didn't even know it was lap 9. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it was lap 9 already. I just wanted to keep going, like they could have done a 2-hour endurance race, and I wouldn't have cared if my voice had trickled to nothing. I just wouldn't have cared. Like, it was unbelievable.
Loved every second of it. I was exactly the same, and watching Sean and Matt fight it out at the front, those big old orange and blue cars, cracking stuff today from all the drivers as well. We've tried to shout out as many as we can. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It's a real pleasure to have you along for these shows, and we love doing them. Do come on back next week. It'll be the Saturday. We're always trying to cut down the time between qualifying and the races. We appreciate that it's a little bit lengthy, and well, thank you so much for your patience, for sticking with us. We'll endeavour again next week to cut down that time a little bit and do a little bit better on it. But for now, from Bugatti, I mean, what more could you want from a great circuit and a great series of racing? And we'll see you next time on the Apex Online Racing Touring Car Championship.